Chapter 201. 3 Foundation Establishment Elixirs. Advancing to Middle Grade Spiritual Root. _4 Indeed. A 6th grade spiritual root. After so much effort, I finally advanced from a lower grade spiritual root to a middle grade spiritual root. Lu Chongxing looked at the system panel, feeling immense joy in his heart. A 9th grade spiritual root upon elevation to middle grade spiritual root wasn't just beneficial for foundation establishment, but it also wouldn't be a hindrance like a lower grade spiritual root, impacting the chances of foundation establishment. This child must be an 8th grade spiritual root, right? Lu Chongxing could roughly feel the quality of the child's spiritual root through the recent pulsation. However, with the system panel, it seemed even more convenient now. His mental spirit stirred slightly. Through the progeny section, he saw the information of his newly born child. Indeed, 8th grade spiritual root. I now have 12 children with spiritual roots. Yet only 2 children possess 7th grade spiritual roots. Trying to have a child with a middle grade spiritual root is truly difficult. Now that I've advanced to a 6th grade spiritual root, I wonder if this aspect will be any better, Lu Chongxing mused, exhaling deeply. Even if both parents possessed spiritual roots, and they ensured the mother was well nourished with spiritual energy during pregnancy to increase the odds of the child having a spiritual root, the child's grade of spiritual root was still very challenging. Now that I've advanced to middle grade spiritual root, not only has my cultivation speed increased, but it will also help me with my foundation establishment, he reflected. If I could advance to upper grade spiritual root early, foundation establishment would probably be as easy as snapping my fingers. It's a pity that Jiue is only at the 2nd level of qi refinement. Her constitution is too frail, otherwise, with a spirit-nurturing physique, it wouldn't be a problem to have a child with a middle grade or even upper grade spiritual root, Lu Chongxing murmured to himself. With a spirit-nurturing physique, if one is willing to consume their cultivation's origin source to conceive, it's highly likely they could have a child with a middle grade spiritual root. But the problem is, Xia Zizhu is only at the 2nd level of qi refinement now. Doing so would certainly inflict great harm on her vitality and affect her at the foundational level. Even though Lu Chongxing wished for a child with a middle grade spiritual root, his morals and bottom line still prevented him from making such a decision. Previously, I read in a book that said some heavenly materials and earthly treasures have the power to increase the chances of the child having a spiritual root, even improving the quality of the spiritual root during the mother's pregnancy. I wonder if the system's lottery could draw such treasures. Lu Chongxing thought hopefully to himself. According to the books, these heavenly materials and earthly treasures are extremely rare. They are at least 3rd-rank heavenly materials and treasures. But due to his trust in the system, Lu Chongxing felt that this wasn't a problem. However, thinking about how the system didn't provide much child money when having children, Lu Chongxing felt somewhat distressed. He could only hope that as the children grew up, they would bring him more rewards in other aspects. Sigh, it's difficult. Life is so hard for me. Lu Chongxing shook his head, stopped his fanciful thoughts, and went into the practice room to sit down and cultivate. An hour later, Lu Chongxing opened his eyes. My advancement from a 7th grade spiritual root to a 6th grade was quite natural, he reflected. Reliant on the development of the children's spiritual roots and stacking 8th grade and 9th grade spiritual roots, there was not much noticeable speed difference. It seems that it will primarily help with bottleneck issues, he concluded. Lu Chongxing had experienced that after advancing to middle grade spiritual root, his cultivation speed had not increased significantly. He understood that the main difference between a 7th grade and a 6th grade spiritual root was in their impact on realm bottlenecks. There were differences in cultivation speed of spiritual energy, but they were not that significant. Chapter 202. Yin-Yang Harmony Technique. Foundation Establishment. _1 Qingzhou Mountain. Inside the practice room, Lu Chongxing sat cross-legged with his eyes closed, focusing on his practice, as 7 fierce strands of sword qi lingered within his flesh, almost piercing through his skin. The normally handsome and extraordinary visage of Lu Chongxing was now twisted with pain. Huff! After a long while, Lu Changsheng's expression eased, and he opened his eyes, exhaling a long breath of turbid air. Although the pain of expelling the elixir toxicity is nothing compared to the benefits, the torment of the sword qi is truly excruciating. Lu Chongqing gently wiped the sweat from his forehead, performed a cleansing technique, and exclaimed with feeling. However, once I break through to the foundation establishment stage and cultivate the 7 luminaries' great freedom sword scripture to the 2nd level, I can condense a 7 luminary stars lamp within my body. With this lamp formed, I can ignite its flame and autonomously burn away the elixir toxicity and impurities in my body, without having to use the 7 luminaries' sword qi to endure such agony. Lu Chongsheng muttered to himself. The 7 luminaries' great freedom sword scripture has a corresponding technique for each level. The 2nd level includes a divine skill, the 7 luminary stars lamp. This allows the cultivator to solidify a heart lamp within. Not only does the lamp help the cultivator expel elixir toxicity, condense mana, and strengthen the foundation, it can also incinerate spiritual energy, accelerate cultivation, protect the mental spirit, and aid in enlightenment, among other things. It is profoundly powerful. Additionally, the cultivator can even cast this lamp into a tangible magic artifact. It is a top-tier spiritual artifact with both offensive and defensive capabilities. Lu Chongqing didn't dwell further on this. He stood up, looking at the porcelain bottle beside him, now empty. I've almost used up all my elixir medicines. I need to make a trip to the 9 Dragons marketplace. This is also a good opportunity to deal with all the items I collected from Xiaolong and the others. Then, I can stock up on more elixir medicines and also equip my 2nd-rank puppet with middle-grade spirit stones. Lu Chongqing thought to himself, walking out of the practice room and preparing to visit the 9 Dragons marketplace. But when he reached the backyard, intending to tell his wives that he would be out, he saw the 4th elder holding his chubby grandchild and chatting with the heavily pregnant Lu Miaoyun. As soon as the 4th elder heard that Lu Chongqing was planning to visit the 9 Dragons marketplace, she immediately said, "Chongsheng, the outside world is not very peaceful right now. If you don't have urgent business, it's better not to leave Qingzhou Mountain. If you need to go to the 9 Dragons marketplace, you can wait for another 2 months. The 2nd elder will be returning by then. You can go with the 2nd elder and let Miaoga rest a bit too," the 4th elder thus advised. "All right, Grandma," Lu Chongqing replied promptly upon hearing this. Although the situation between the Chun family and the Lu family appeared to have calmed down temporarily, it was only superficially much improved. Underneath the surface, friction continued unabated. Lu Chongqing deduced that the Chun family was likely waiting for an opportunity, a chance to act. They could launch an attack at any moment. Being the talisman master of the Lu family, he estimated he was certainly one of the Chun family's targets. There was a chance that he could be attacked by the Qin family. Although Lu Chongqing was confident that, as long as he did not encounter a foundation establishment great cultivator, he feared no one, but it was just a trip to the marketplace, no need to rush. And so 2 months passed. In these 2 months, 3 of Lu Changsheng's children were born. Of note, 2 of these children possessed spiritual roots. One was Lu Miao's 3rd child with a 9th grade spiritual root. The other was Shue'er's 3rd child with an 8th grade spiritual root. Thus, the number of Lu Changsheng's children possessing spiritual roots reached 14. The total number of Lu Changsheng's children, including those yet to be born, had also reached 77. 5 days later, the 2nd elder returned. As the 2nd elder prepared to journey back to the 9 Dragons marketplace, Lu Chongsheng, accompanied by little Qing, left with the 2nd elder for the 9 Dragons marketplace. If he had been going alone, Lu Chongqing naturally would not have taken anyone with him. But this trip was to take over for Lu Miaoga, and he was going to stay in the 9 Dragons marketplace for half a year, so having little Qing by his side was indeed convenient. 1.5 days later, the flying boat arrived smoothly at the 9 Dragons marketplace. After parting ways with the 2nd elder, Lu Chongqing took little Qing back to their residence. Seeing the 12 maids in the courtyard, Lu Chongqing enjoyed them thoroughly. After all, the kind of maids trained by White Jade Tower offer an unmatched experience. The next morning, Lu Chongqing went to the spiritual talisman shop. He told Lu Miaoge that he would be staying in the marketplace for a while and that she could take a break if she wished. Lu Miaoge didn't refuse. Though the spiritual talisman shop didn't have too much busy work, most of the time, it was necessary to have someone preside over the shop to deal with some affairs, which made it difficult to focus on cultivation and study of the talisman path. After Lu Miaoge had been notified, Lu Chongqing skillfully handled the items collected from Xiaolong and the others. Aside from keeping 2 magic artifacts for his own use, he sold everything else, netting Lu Chongqing a total of 2,400 spirit stones. With his fresh earnings, Lu Chongqing began to spend. He purchased a batch of elixir medicines and materials necessary for practicing the 100 refinements treasure body art, and also exchanged for 10 middle-grade spirit stones. Although 1 middle-grade spirit stone is equal to 100 lower-grade spirit stones, considering the exchange rates and handling fees, 10 middle-grade spirit stones cost Lu Chongqing a total of 1,030 spirit stones. I'll skip the White Jade Tower for now. Walking home, Lu Chongqing glanced at the over 800 spirit stones remaining in his storage bag and dismissed the idea of visiting the White Jade Tower. After all, the consumption at the White Jade Tower is somewhat high, and with his 800-plus spirit stones, he could only buy maids with lower-grade spiritual roots. Now, with 10 wives and maids having spiritual roots, and his own spiritual root upgraded to middle grade. Chapter 203, Yin-Yang Harmony Technique. Foundation Establishment. Lu Changsheng's expectations had risen accordingly. He wished the mother of his child would have a better spiritual root. If he were to go to White Jade Tower to buy a maid again, he would buy one with a middle-grade spiritual root. Now, a lower-grade spiritual root really didn't inspire much interest in him. After returning home, Lu Chongsheng took out the second-rank puppet from his storage bag in his room. With a pinch of his fingers executing a spiritual art, he removed the heart-protecting mirror from the puppet. He took out the 10 lower-grade spirit stones inside and replaced them with the 10 middle-grade spirit stones he had exchanged for. This is much more reliable. Lu Chongqing looked at the metal puppet in front of him and nodded in satisfaction. With the support of 10 middle-grade spirit stones, this second-rank puppet could now tussle with a Foundation Establishment Great Cultivator for a bit longer. Otherwise, according to his previous estimation, after the 5 javelins on the puppet's back were launched, the stored spiritual power would be almost depleted. A little over a month later, on the second floor of the spiritual talisman shop, Lu Chongqing held a talisman pen and smoothly completed a superior-grade talisman. Chongsheng, you've already surpassed me in talisman making. At this rate, I estimate that in 4 or 5 years, you'll be able to try your hand at crafting supreme talismans and become a top-level first-grade talisman master. Lu Miaoge, dressed in white surpassing snow, with a beautiful face, smiled as she watched Lu Chongqing finish making the talisman. In the past, she would feel somewhat frustrated watching Lu Changsheng's rapid progress in the talisman path. But as Lu Chongqing caught up with her with his swift improvements, she gradually came to terms with it. After all, she was never one to be fiercely competitive by nature. Seeing Lu Changsheng's progress made her happy for him. It's also thanks to Sister Miaoge for looking after the shop this past year that I've been able to focus on the talisman path in the tranquility of Qingzhou Mountain and make such rapid progress, Lu Chongsheng said with a smile. After all, the 4th elder had entrusted him to manage the shop. But previously, he had handed the shop over to Lu Miaoge on the pretext of spending time at home with his wives and children. However, my current cultivation level is still too low, and I can only craft relatively simple superior-grade talismans. To go further and craft more complex superior-grade talismans, I must break through to the 6th level of energy refinement. As for supreme talismans, I guess I'll have to wait until I reach the 7th level of energy refinement to try practicing them. But with my 9th grade spiritual root, I don't know when I'll be able to break through to that level, so even if my skills on the talisman path improve, it's pointless. Lu Chongqing then continued with a wry smile. He didn't want to demoralize this young lady too much on the topic of talisman path. As long as you spend more time on your cultivation and reach the 6th level, you can apply for a high-rank breakthrough elixir from the family. Then you'll be able to break through to the 7th level very quickly, Lu Miaoge said. biting her lip gently, trying to comfort him. She also felt it a pity for Lu Changsheng's spiritual root talent. Such a great talent for talisman making, yet held back by his spiritual root. Thank you, Sister Miaoga. I will certainly work hard on cultivation. Lu Changsheng nodded slightly. Master, young Master Bai has arrived. At that moment, shopkeeper Zhang Shan came to report. Just say I'm not here. From now on, whenever this young Master Bai comes, you're to say I'm not here, Lu Miaoga said, furrowing her brows slightly upon hearing this. Yes, Master. Zhang Shan nodded. Sister Miaoga, why not just tell this young Master Bai outright to save him from pestering you like this? Lu Changxing asked upon hearing this. He had been around long enough to know what this young Master Bai was all about. This young Master Bai came from the Bai family at White Bird Lake. The Bai family had always had a good relationship with the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain, with numerous marriages between the two. Not long ago, the Bai family had made an overture to the Lu family about an arranged marriage. They wanted young Master Bai to marry Lu Miaoga. With a 5th grade spiritual root and being a superior grade talisman master, the Lu family naturally did not want her to marry off. But given the Lu family's current circumstances, it was difficult for them to outright refuse the Bai family's proposal without causing offense. So they tactfully conveyed that the matter was for Lu Miaoga to decide. If she was willing, it could be settled. Subsequently, young Master Bai came to Nine Dragons Market, starting to pursue Lu Miaoga. I've already told him explicitly before that I am devoted to my practice and not considering romance, Lu Miaoga said softly. Devoted to my practice and not considering romance. Sister Miaoga, do you really think this way? Or is this just an excuse to reject young Master Bai? Lu Changxing asked, raising his eyebrows curiously as he casually asked. In the cultivation world, where fortunes change rapidly, only as a foundation establishment great cultivator can one truly stand firm. If I want to attempt foundation establishment, I can't allow myself to be distracted by romance, Lu Miaoga replied with a light press of her lips, voicing her determination with a gentle but firm voice. That means you haven't completely ruled out the possibility. If you were to consider it, what would be your requirements for a Dao companion? Lu Changxing chuckled lightly, inquiring in a casual tone. His relationship with Lu Miaoga was quite good by now, so this kind of conversation did not hold too much taboo for them. I have not given it much thought yet, Lu Miaoga said, her eyes lowered, speaking softly. I believe that with your potential, Sister Miaoga, you will definitely be able to succeed in foundation establishment, Lu Changxing said, not pursuing the topic further. Foundation establishment, it's easier said than done. Lu Miaoga shook her head slightly. As someone born into the cultivation family of the Lu family, she knew very well how difficult it was to reach foundation establishment. Otherwise, aside from the Lu family ancestor, no new foundation establishment cultivator would have emerged in the family. Without access to a foundation establishment elixir, even if one reaches the peak of energy refinement with the appropriate age and possesses foundation establishment spirit objects, the probability of successfully establishing the foundation is at most 30%. Then Lu Miaoga looked at Lu Changsheng and said, if you become a second-ranked talisman master, there might still be hope for you to achieve foundation establishment in the future. Chapter 204. Yin-Yang Harmony Technique. Foundation Establishment. Her words were not meant to comfort. In Lu Miaoga's opinion, with Lu Changsheng's talent for the talisman path, if he became a second-grade talisman master and made good connections with other powers, there was still hope for him to obtain a foundation establishment elixir and foundation establishment spirit objects to take a shot at foundation establishment. Although the probability was also very slim. I don't have any extravagant hopes about foundation establishment. I'd be satisfied if I could break through to the energy refinement late stage. Lu Changxing shook his head. He always appeared casual about cultivation to others, very much like a salted fish. After all, the persona of someone who devoted his heart to the path of cultivation didn't quite match up with that of a man who was the father of more than 70 children. It wouldn't do to proclaim his dedication to the path and desire for foundation establishment one moment, and then go off to make children the next. Changsheng, I won't be coming over for the time being, so the shop will be a bother for you to look after. If you have any issues, feel free to send me a message at any time. Lu Miaoge sighed softly and did not dwell on the topic. After all, not to mention Lu Changsheng's 9th grade spiritual root, even with her own middle grade spiritual root, the probability of achieving foundation establishment wasn't much to speak of, which was quite worrying. Okay, no problem. Lu Changsheng nodded. In the following days, Lu Changsheng returned to his previous working life routine. His daily life remained as bland, tedious, and tasteless as before. Regarding having children, Lu Changsheng took an easygoing approach. He didn't strive for it, nor did he deliberately control it. If it happened, then it happened. So in the span of 3 months, 4 maids became pregnant. That day, Lu Changsheng was meditating and cultivating on the 2nd floor of the spiritual talisman shop. Suddenly, he sensed a familiar throbbing. It let Lu Changsheng know that a child had been born on Qingzhou Mountain. This child possessed a spiritual root. And at that moment of throbbing, a familiar system notification rang out. Congratulations to the host for the birth of 15 offspring with spiritual roots. You've earned 1 chance at a luck draw. 15 of them. Looks like there's some hope for child money after all. Upon hearing this system notification, Lu Changsheng couldn't help but feel elated. Although the number had changed from 1, 2, 3 children per child money to 5 now, Lu Changsheng felt it was still nice to have any at all. System, draw a prize. Lu Changsheng silently willed it. Immediately, the familiar wheel of fortune appeared. Without overthinking, Lu Changsheng commanded, "Start the draw." At once, the familiar golden light special effect appeared, and the wheel spun rapidly before slowly coming to a stop on cultivation technique. Ding! Congratulations, host, on obtaining the cultivation technique, Yin-Yang Harmony Technique. The reward has been placed in the system space, and the host can check it at any time. A translucent jade scroll icon appeared, alongside the system notification. Yin-Yang Harmony Technique? Is this a dual cultivation technique or a technique from the heretical path? Lu Changsheng's brows raised as he saw the technique. Having obtained the 7 luminaries' great freedom sword scripture, he wasn't too concerned about drawing another technique. But that didn't mean he had no need for techniques. For example, he needed techniques for cultivating the mental spirit and dual cultivation. Lu Changsheng did have demands in those areas. Right away, Lu Changsheng examined the system space to check the details of the technique he had just drawn. Cultivation technique. Yin-Yang Harmony Technique. Grade. Peripheral sect level. Description. The Yin-Yang superior, blessed with extraordinary talent yet indulged in the pleasures of men and women, hindered his cultivation. On the verge of death, after observing various techniques, he integrated them into one, creating the Yin-Yang Harmony Technique, which allows cultivators to explore the great medicine within the human body through the path of Yin and Yang and uncover the mysteries of the origin of cultivation. A peripheral sect level technique. From this description, it doesn't sound like just a simple dual cultivation technique. It should be a technique from the demon path that cultivates through dual cultivation. Lu Changsheng's frown deepened as he read about the Yin-Yang Harmony Technique. But how good a technique truly is, one only knows after trying it out. After all, it is, at the very least, a peripheral sect level technique. System, extract. Without much thought, Lu Changsheng focused his mind and extracted the Yin-Yang Harmony Technique. In an instant, the method of cultivating the Yin-Yang Harmony Technique, its related content, and various key points flooded into Lu Changsheng's mind like a divine insight. After some time, just as I suspected, it's not a purely dual cultivation technique, but rather a technique from the heretical path of cultivation. Lu Changsheng opened his eyes, fully comprehending the Yin-Yang Harmony Technique. As he had guessed, it was a technique from the heretical path. It allowed one to swiftly enhance one's strength through dual cultivation, all the way to the nascent soul stage. If he didn't have the 7 luminaries' great freedom sword scripture, Lu Changsheng might consider cultivating this technique. But since he had it, Lu Changsheng was not at all inclined to cultivate this technique. The reason was simple. No one understood the merits of these 2 techniques better than him. In terms of cultivation speed, the Yin-Yang Harmony Technique had the upper hand. However, in terms of foundational strength, the seven luminaries' great freedom sword scripture far surpassed it. What Lu Chongqing emphasized was to advance steadily, build a robust foundation, and achieve greatness later in life. If he cultivated the yin-yang harmony technique, let alone reaching the nascent soul stage, it would definitely impact his later stages. Even though I want to cultivate this yin-yang harmony technique, as a technique created by the yin-yang superior by combining many others, it's incredibly inclusive. There are many secret techniques within it that I can practice and that will be of use to me. Lu Chongqing mused to himself. This yin-yang harmony technique as a peripheral sect-level method was naturally no simple matter. It included many dual cultivation secret techniques, astonishing Lu Chongqing with its breadth of knowledge. For instance, it contained a secret technique called Dragon Invocation Technique. This allowed a cultivator to continuously harvest the true yin essence of female cultivators, thereby making one's cultivation soar dramatically. Chapter 205 Yin-Yang Harmony Technique Foundation Establishment _4 If a woman possesses a special spiritual body, she can even gather certain characteristics of the spiritual body from it. However, this secret technique does have some detrimental effects on female cultivators. If overharvested, it can damage the woman's origin source and lead to death through direct harvesting. Besides the Dragon Invocation Technique, which is a heretical path of cultivation by harvesting, Lu Chongqing also came across several good cultivation techniques. One secret technique was called the 5 aggregates proliferation method, which, after being cultivated by a male and female, could increase the odds of pregnancy. As cultivators increase their cultivation levels, there is also a side effect. It becomes more difficult to have offspring. For those in the qi refinement realm, there are no significant consequences yet. However, once breaking through to the foundation establishment, there will be some impacts. If someone breaks through to the core formation stage, it becomes very difficult to have children. As for the nascent soul stage, it's even more challenging. And this 5 aggregates proliferation method enables one to cultivate and conserve essence, thus improving the chance of having children. The second cultivation technique is the tender embrace technique. It is a superior method for dual cultivation. Unlike the Dragon Invocation Technique, which solely advances oneself by consuming the essence of female cultivators. In the process of dual cultivation with the tender embrace technique, although the man absorbs the woman's primal yin essence, this primal yin essence merges with the man's primal yang essence. Thus, 1 produces 2, 2 produces 3, nourishing more of the yin and yang essences, eventually returning a portion back. It can not only replenish what the woman has lost, but the surplus can also nourish the woman, bringing her immense benefits. However, being a secret technique from the yin-yang harmony technique, there are side effects. That is, with excessive dual cultivation, it can cause the woman to become increasingly infatuated and affectionate towards the male cultivator. But in Lu Chongqing's view, this is hardly a downside. After all, he only practiced dual cultivation with his own wives, concubines, and maids. He had no intention of becoming a philanderer or doing anything that defies morality and injures the heavens. There was another secret technique called the inverted phoenix cultivation technique. It required a virgin female cultivator to practice. Once the woman has cultivated the technique to a certain profound level, the male cultivator can perform the secret technique steal the woman's primal yin in an instant to break through cultivation level bottlenecks. Foundation establishment, core formation, nascent soul, these 3 major realm bottlenecks can be aided with this technique for breakthroughs. Perhaps the maids of the White Jade Tower, who are cultivating the charming lady elemental cultivation, are practicing a similar technique? It's just that charming lady elemental cultivation allows those without a spiritual root to cultivate as well. Lu Chongqing felt that the inverted phoenix cultivation technique was somewhat like an upgraded version of the charming lady elemental cultivation. It's a pity that the inverted phoenix cultivation technique requires too much time to cultivate, and it demands a certain cultivation level from female cultivators. Otherwise, I could try the effect by purchasing a maid from the White Jade Tower for cultivation. Lu Chongqing shook his head slightly. He felt that revealing the cultivation technique from the yin-yang harmony technique was not suitable at the moment. Otherwise, it could easily lead to trouble. However, this tender embrace technique can be tried when I go back. Lu Chongqing thought to himself. After all, trying out dual cultivation techniques with one's own wives is a pleasure for the bedroom. He had previously bought the Dragon Locking Secret Technique, the Jade Chamber's Essential Secret, and the 36 Scattered Hands of Dongzuanzi, and had experienced them as well. However, those three were merely worldly arts of the bedroom and did not qualify as dual cultivation techniques. And revealing the tender embrace technique to his wives wouldn't be an issue. He could simply say he stumbled upon it at the market for loose cultivators. Night fell. Shao Qing, come here. Your husband has something good to teach you. After returning home and having dinner, Lu Chongqing called Shao Qing to his room. Afterward, son-in-law Shao Qing can't take it anymore. Lying on the bed, Xiaqing's eyes, brimming with water, were filled with tender affection and charm. Shao Qing, see how much your cultivation level has increased. Lu Chongqing asked, looking towards Shao Qing. Son-in-law, I've been cultivating for about a day or two. Xiaqing's face flushed with excitement and immediately showed a look of surprise. A day or two, it seems the effect is just average. Lu Chongqing pondered softly. He knew this also depended on the cultivation level of both individuals. Because Shao Qing was only at the third-level energy refinement, the effect was better for her than for him. Through dual cultivation, he had only managed a slight increase, probably equivalent to 2 or 3 hours of meditation. However, something is better than nothing. It's at least better than not having anything, and it added a bit of boudoir pleasure. Lu Chongqing didn't mind thinking any further. After all, this was as good as getting something for nothing. He then positioned Shao Qing properly and smiled. No problem. Little by little adds up. Let your son-in-law aid you in your cultivation. Great Dream Immortal City. Inner City Cave Dwelling Area. But then, outside one of the cave dwellings, nature's spiritual energy was suddenly drawn out, forming a spiritual energy vortex. Someone is making a breakthrough to foundation establishment. By the looks of it, they have breached the 3 barriers of foundation establishment and have reached the most critical step. It's uncertain whether they'll be successful or not. The unusual surge in nature's spiritual energy drew the attention and curiosity of other cultivators from nearby cave dwellings. However, the onlookers were few. After all, in a place like Great Dream Immortal City where high-end cave dwellings are rented out to outsiders, there are cultivators attempting foundation establishment and challenging their bottlenecks every year. And at this very moment inside the cave dwelling, foundation establishment achieved. Meng Xiaochan opened her eyes, and a purple light flickered in her pupils. At this moment, her face also reverted to its original appearance, bearing a 3 to 4 part similarity to before. But as if her facial features had matured from her previous delicate beauty, she transformed into a woman of breathtaking allure. Her entire being radiated an elusive and ethereal charm, making her feel ungraspable. I've successfully established my foundation. Meng Xiaochan looked at her own palms and couldn't help but show a joyous smile on her face. Afterward, she closed her eyes, and in her mind appeared the image of a handsome and upright young man. In this manner, she quietly felt the state of her mental spirit and her emotions. Moments later, Meng Xiaochan felt a surge of rising sentiment in her heart and immediately opened her eyes, dispelling the image in her mind and suppressing the feelings in her heart. What a domineering Lockhart goo. Even after my foundation establishment, it still affects me. I must find a way to solve it, to kill him and take back the Lockhart goo. Meng Xiaocan's eyes revealed a determined look. But as soon as the thought emerged, she felt a pang of turmoil and pain in her heart, feeling as though she should not have such thoughts. Meng Xiaochan immediately formed a spiritual art with her hands to calm her inner turmoil. She began to think about how she was going to take back the Lockhart goo. Chapter 206. 2 Boss, the big boss might not make it. _19 Dragon's Market. Jade Meal Pavilion. Inside a private room, Yu Maoqing was dining and drinking with Lu Chongqing. Brother Lu, the situation of the Lu family doesn't seem very optimistic. Do you have any plans in mind? After the drinks had flowed for a while, Yu Maoqing initiated the conversation. What plans could I have? When the sky falls, there's someone tall to bear it. It's not my turn to worry. What, Brother Yu? Are you bringing this up because you have a strategy in mind? Lu Chongqing lifted an eyebrow when he heard this. Today, Yu Maoqing invited him to drink in this private room, which made him feel that the other party had something to say. Now hearing this, he thought to himself that indeed, there was something. What strategies could I possibly have? It's just that the Yu family is interested in recruiting you, Brother Lu. They asked me to act as a mediator. They conveyed that if Brother Lu is willing to join the Yu family, they are also willing to offer a family maiden in marriage to you. As for the conditions and treatment, Brother Lu, you are also free to make requests, said Yu Maoqing as he took a bite of his dish, smirked bitterly, and spoke the truth. I, Lu Chongqing, came from humble beginnings to join the Lu family. Now that my wives, concubines, and children are all with the Lu family, how can I commit such an act of betrayal against my own family? Lu Chongqing waved his hand dismissively. Brother Lu, please don't take offense. It's just that the Yu family knew of our acquaintance, which is why they had me act as the mediator. There's no other implication. I'll punish myself with a drink. Yu Maoqing promptly lifted his cup and announced, expressing his apologies. I'm well aware of that. Lu Chongqing nodded slightly, not taking it too much to heart. He knew that Yu Maoqing was just a go-between. The Yu family asking him to be the mediator didn't leave him any choice but to accept. In that case, he'll give the Yu family a response later. However, Brother Lu, with your talent in the talisman path and having become a top-level talisman master at such a young age, I reckon the Yu family won't give up easily. They will likely send someone to recruit you again. Yu Maoqing explained. Envy was an inevitable undertone in his voice. Previously, when the Yu family asked him to mediate, he was somewhat surprised. But after learning that Lu Chongqing was a top-level talisman master, his surprise was immense. He had always thought Lu Chongqing was a middle-grade talisman master. Little had he expected Lu Chongqing to have been promoted to top-level talisman master. In his awe at Lu Changsheng's talisman path talent, he understood why the Lu family said nothing about his multiple marriages. His status was such that it simply wasn't comparable to that of a cultured family son-in-law like himself. All right, thanks for the heads-up, Brother Yu. Lu Chongqing nodded. He could also sense what Yu Maoqing implied. It meant that the Yu family would arrange through Yu Maoqing to have him meet with someone from their family later. So it was like a courtesy heads-up for now. Actually, as a friend, I think Brother Lu could consider this option. It's not to say you should betray the Lu family. Rather, if the situation of the Lu family truly becomes untenable, Brother Lu must consider an alternative for yourself. Yu Maoqing took a sip of his drink and voiced his thoughts. Let's see about that when the time comes. Lu Chongqing sighed lightly. It's still a bit early to discuss this matter now. In his escape plans, he had naturally considered an alternative. If it came to the point where the Lu family was truly failing, Lu Chongqing planned to take his wives, concubines, and children to escape and hide in the marketplace for a few years. Once the time was right, he would reveal his first-grade top-level talisman-making skill and choose to join forces like the Qingyun Commerce Guild. As for clans like the Yu family involved in cultivation, they weren't even within the range of his considerations. After all, not every cultured family was as relatively upright as the Lu family, a place where he could live comfortably and without worry. Moreover, after the incident with the Lu family, joining another cultivation family would ensure he never truly fit in and would face ostracism. He would rather join a commerce guild or a sect, where life would be more relaxed and carefree. Indeed, there's no need to rush these things, Yu Maoqing agreed, nodding. With Brother Lu's talisman-making skill, you can establish yourself anywhere. He did not continue to delve into this topic. Half a month later, Lu Chongqing was in the spiritual talisman shop, drawing talismans. Zhang Shan informed Lu Chongqing that Yu Maoqing was looking for him. Brother Yu, what's the matter? Lu Chongqing descended from upstairs and asked Yu Maoqing. It's about what I mentioned last time. The Yu family will be sending someone again to recruit Brother Lu. The third young master of the Yu family has arrived today and asked me to invite Brother Lu for a chat, Yu Maocheng announced. The third young master of the Yu family? Lu Chongqing obviously did not recognize this third young master of the Yu family. But being referred to as the third young master, he inferred that the young master's status within the Yu family must not be ordinary. Brother Lu, why don't you go and meet him? Even if Brother Lu isn't interested in joining the Yu family, it's still reasonable to meet, Yu Maocheng suggested. He then lowered his voice and added, moreover, from what I know, this third young master doesn't have the best of reputations. If Brother Lu can avoid offending him, it's best to do so. All right, they'll go with Brother Yu and meet him then. Lu Chongqing chuckled lightly and nodded in response. He was aware that if he refused, it would be difficult for Yu Maocheng to explain himself. And since the Yu family had sent a young master over, it was unlikely that he would just leave after making a visit without meeting anyone. Rather than going himself, later encounters would still lead them to seek him out, so it might as well be now. Why does it feel like these cultivation families are trying to uproot the Lu family? Lu Chongqing suddenly thought of the previous incident where young Master Bai pursued Lu Miaoge. It seemed that young Master Bai's presence in Nine Dragons Square, persistently wooing Lu Miaoge, might not stem from genuine affection for Lu Miaoge. Instead, this approach could be a way to show earnestness and an attempt to have Lu Miaoge join the Bai family. Sigh, it truly is a case of everyone pushing a falling wall. The Lu family ancestor hasn't even passed away yet, and it's come to this, if the Lu family ancestor were to die. Chapter 207. Second Master. The big boss is in trouble. Lu Chongqing couldn't help but think in his heart. He felt that the cultivation world was more naked than he had imagined. Shortly after, Lu Chongqing and Yu Maocheng arrived at a private room on the second floor of the Jade Meal Pavilion. Inside the private room, the table was already prepared with fine wines and dishes. Lu Daoist, it's an honor to meet you, said a handsome young man in a kublu brocade clothes with a somewhat effeminate air, who, upon seeing Lu Chongqing, gave him a few glances and greeted him with a cupped fist. I've seen the third young master, Lu Chongqing replied with a slight bow, knowing that this was indeed the third young master of the Yu family. Brother Lu, third young master, I still have some matters to attend to. You two chat, said Yu Maocheng as he introduced them to each other. He wouldn't linger after bringing Lu Chongqing, so he took his leave with a cupped fist. Yu Ningyuan nodded slightly and waved his hand to indicate Yu Maocheng should step down. Then he made a gesture inviting Lu Chongqing to sit down. Lu Daoist, please take a seat. The reason I invited Lu Daoist here this time you probably already understand, he began. I heard from Yu Maocheng that you are not considering this aspect for the time being. But there's no rush, Lu Daoist can still listen to my offer. Even if it doesn't work out, we can still be friends and become acquainted, Yu Ningyuan said with a smile, picking up the wine pot and personally pouring wine for Lu Chongqing. I consider it a fortunate matter to meet a young talent like third young master Yu, Lu Chongqing replied. I'll drink first, he said. Seeing that his host was so polite, he naturally wouldn't offend, and with a smile he drank all the wine in his cup. He exclaimed, Good wine! These words were no mere courtesy. Lu Chongqing hadn't drunk much wine. Just the white jade bamboo wine and white jade 100 flowers wine, and others. But now, he could clearly appreciate that this wine far surpassed the white jade bamboo wine and white jade 100 flowers wine he had tasted before. It nourished the spiritual power and mental spirit, probably a first-grade top-quality spiritual wine. Hee. This is the special spiritual wine from by Lake Mountain, Green Water Spiritual Wine. It's quite effective for nourishing the mind and spirit. Since you are a talisman master, Lu Daoist, you can drink more. If you like it, I have another pot on me. You can take it back to enjoy, Yu Ningyuan offered. Third young master Yu is too courteous. I cannot accept such a reward for no merit. How could I be so bold? Lu Chongqing waved his hand, naturally not tempted by just a bit of spiritual wine. Seeing this, Yu Ningyuan did not dwell on the subject and started talking about other matters. He inquired about Lu Changsheng's situation in the Lu family, his life. Then he spoke about the current situation of the Lu family and introduced his own Yu family's circumstances. If Lu Changsheng didn't have a systematic approach and a clear plan for himself, he might genuinely have been moved by the third young master of the Yu family's appearance and words of attracting talents. After all, according to the third young master, the prospects of the Lu family were not optimistic. While the Yu family of Bai Lake Mountain not only had 2 foundation establishment great cultivators as pillars, within 10 years, there was hope for the birth of a 3rd foundation establishment great cultivator. Their family's overall strength and future prospects far surpassed those of the Lu family. If Lu Changsheng were willing to join, the future promised limitless possibilities. After wrapping up the conversation, Yuning Yuan took out a pot of spiritual wine and 3 jade boxes, placing them on the table. Upon opening the jade boxes, inside each were a magic artifact talisman brush, 10 crystal clear middle-grade spirit stones, and 1 high-rank breakthrough elixir. "Brother Lu, this is a small token of sincerity from my Yu family," he said. "This set of resources would be enough for Brother Lu's cultivation to reach the energy refinement late stage. Moreover, if Brother Lu is willing to join my Yu family, my family would like to marry a legitimate daughter to Brother Lu as a wife. Once Brother Lu has cultivated to the energy refinement late stage and has made a significant contribution, my Yu family might even bestow a high-grade cultivation technique and teach the insights of foundation establishment," Yu Ningyuan added with a hint of confidence on his face. "I suppose the Lu family could not offer Lu Daoists such attractive terms, could they?" he continued. Lu Changsheng, looking at the spiritual wine, the magic artifact talisman brush, the 10 middle-grade spirit stones, and the high-rank breakthrough elixir in front of him, could not help but inwardly marvel at the Yu family's generosity. He instantly recognized that the brush was a top-quality magic artifact talisman brush. Together with the 10 middle-grade spirit stones and the high-rank breakthrough elixir, they were worth more than 3,000 spirit stones. It was undoubtedly a grand gesture. He understood in his heart that the Yu family was willing to pay such a price because they had seen the potential of his talents in the talisman path. They knew that, in the future, he wouldn't just be a superior talisman master, but had the potential to become a 2nd-grade talisman master. Otherwise, a superior talisman master alone would not be worth such a huge investment for the Yu family to recruit. And to go so far as to marry off a legitimate daughter and to grant a high-grade cultivation technique. In powerful cultivation families, legitimate children seldom marry out of the family. For example, Yu Ningrong, who married Yu Maoqing, was only a member of a side branch of the Yu family. "Third young master Yu, I am very sorry, but ever since I was insignificant, I have been with the Lu family, which has brought me up to where I am today. I truly cannot do something that would betray my family," Lu Changxing expressed with a regretful bow. If he were an ordinary cultivator, faced with this offer, it would indeed be challenging to refuse. After all, with wealth, a woman, cultivation techniques, and the prospect of being part of the Yu family of Bai Lake Mountain, it was a complete package. Especially high-rank cultivation techniques and insights into foundation establishment, for an ordinary cultivator, they were absolutely irresistible. Even though every cultivator knew that their chances of foundation establishment were slim, the mere mention of anything related to it got them excited and hooked. After all, foundation establishment was the dream of countless cultivators. Even the slightest chance of success would be fiercely sought after. As soon as he expressed this, Yu Ningyuan, who had a faintly confident smile on his face, stiffened. He looked at Lu Changxing with some astonishment. Unexpectedly, after all his persuasion, Lu Changxing was still not tempted. Chapter 208. Second Master, the big boss is in trouble. He actually refused me. To think, when he first received the task and saw the conditions the family was offering, he even had doubts. He felt the terms were too generous. It was only after the family told him about Lu Changsheng's talent in the talisman path that he reluctantly accepted. But he never expected that, at this very moment, Lu Changsheng would actually refuse. It left him completely baffled as to what was going on. Lu Daoist, you might not be fully aware of the current situation of the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain. I can tell you directly that the lifespan of the Lu family ancestor is likely within these 3 to 5 years. And the Lu family has absolutely no way to obtain a foundation establishment elixir, definitely unable to produce a new foundation establishment great cultivator, and their previous attempts to find one in the Purple Shadow secret realm were fruitless. Under such circumstances, the downfall of the Lu family is already destined. Why must you? Yu Ningyuan spoke up, his tone no longer as polite. However, before he could finish, a look of sudden realization dawned on Yu Ningyuan's face. He understood why Lu Chongqing had refused him. I see, it must be because of your wives and concubines. Since all your wives, concubines, and children are with the Lu family, rest assured, Lu Daoist, as long as you join the Yu family, when the Lu family falls, my Yu family can step in and try our best to protect your wives, concubines, and children. Moreover, I've heard that you, Lu Daoist, are fond of the company of women, never happy without them, which is just like me. As long as you are willing to join the Yu family, you can enjoy all my 36 concubines and 72 maids, Yu Ningyuan said with a confident smile on his face. Lu Chongqing, upon hearing this, didn't even know what to say for a moment. This third young master of the Yu family had rendered him silent. He didn't know whether to call this third young master of the Yu family generous or something else. He just couldn't keep up with the other's train of thought. Lu Daoist, what do you think? If it comes to that, your children born in the future, I will let them recognize you as their godfather. Or, if you really have someone you like, I can give you a few of my concubines. Thinking he had seen through Lu Changsheng's thoughts and confident of victory, Yu Ningyuan spoke based on the information he had about Lu Chongqing. He also thought about the great sacrifice he was making to get Lu Chongqing to join the Yu family, and how his own family would surely reward him handsomely upon his return. Lu has no intention of betraying the Lu family at the moment, and also thanks young Master Yu for his hospitality. Lu Chongqing didn't know what to say. He felt he couldn't quite connect with this young master of the Yu family. If the other party had continued to be as polite as before, treating the deal as a gentleman's agreement and parting as friends upon its failure, but with things as they were, he really didn't know what to say and thus took his leave. Lu Chongqing Yu? Seeing that he had offered such great benefits and yet Lu Chongqing didn't appreciate them, a hint of anger appeared on Yu Ningyuan's face, as he wanted to say something. But remembering that they were still in the marketplace, he ultimately held back. He just snorted coldly and put the items from the table back into his storage bag. Brother Lu, I'm truly sorry for this time. Seeing Lu Chongqing walk down the stairs alone, Yu Maoqing, waiting downstairs, guessed the outcome. Knowing that the conversation hadn't gone well, he apologized with a bow. It's nothing. Lu Chongqing returned the bow and left the Jade Meal Pavilion without saying anything else. I wonder if what this third young master of the Yu family said earlier was true or false. After leaving the Jade Meal Pavilion, Lu Chongqing thought about some of the things the young master of the Yu family had said. About the current situation of the Lu family. He knew the situation of the Lu family was not optimistic, but the words of this young master of the Yu family made it sound as if the Lu family was on the brink of destruction. He even vaguely felt that once the Lu family ancestor died, not only the Qin family of Red Leaf Valley, but also the Yu family of Bai Lake Mountain would come to take a share of the spoils. Whether this young master yes words are true or not, I must make proper arrangements for my wives and concubines. Lu Chongqing reflected in his mind. As for himself, he wasn't too worried, having the power to protect himself. The main consideration is still regarding wives, concubines, and children. If a crisis falls upon the Lu family, how should I take all my wives, concubines, and children to safety? In this moment, Lu Chongqing clearly recognized why most cultivators are alone. Because most of the time, being a loner and walking the Great Tao alone is indeed far better than having a family to look after. As for me, it can't even be said that I'm just taking a family along anymore. It's more like moving a small clan. However, since I've chosen this path, the path of many children bring much happiness. Lu Chongqing naturally wouldn't complain about the trouble at this time, feeling that there are too many wives and children. It's strength in the end, it's still a lack of strength. If I had the strength of foundation establishment, none of these matters would be a problem, Lu Chongqing let out a sigh, deeply feeling the importance of strength. His own strength was only sufficient for self-preservation. Yet it was not enough to protect all his wives and children. Regarding the wives, he'll think about it after returning to Qingzhou Mountain in 2 months, and see how to arrange things. It's just that having met this young master of the Yu family, I should inform the Lu family about it. Otherwise, once the Lu family finds out later, they might harbor some suspicions. Lu Chongqing pondered in his heart. The issue of the Bai family's young master pursuing Lu Miaoge earlier, and this young master of the Yu family offering a high price to poach someone. He felt that the Lu family was probably facing quite a few such incidents. Since I've encountered it myself, it's best to let the Lu family know in advance, to avoid any misunderstandings later on. After all, it's a matter that can be explained with just a few words. After nightfall, Lu Chongqing left the spiritual talisman shop and headed to the Lu family's large courtyard in the eastern district. He paid his respects to the second elder and spoke of today's events. Chongsheng, you're considerate. Upon hearing Lu Changsheng's words, the second elder revealed a smile and patted his shoulder, saying, "The Yu family sent someone to poach you, surely offering a significant price. Your refusal to be swayed shows that our Lu family didn't misjudge you. Rest assured, our Lu family has been standing on Qingzhou Mountain for hundreds of years, and we are not so easily toppled," the second elder declared. "Second elder, if not for the Lu family, I, Lu Chongqing, would not be where I am today. I will surely advance or retreat together with the Lu family," Lu Chongqing said with a firm expression. He didn't care whether the second elder's words were true or false, whether the Lu family's situation was good or bad. Since he was still with the Lu family, he must maintain the proper attitude. Very good, very good. As long as you have this intention, that's enough." Seeing this, the second elder nodded with relief and patted Lu Changsheng's shoulder again. Meanwhile, in the great dream Immortal City, the Lu family ancestor of Qingzhou Mountain has only a few years left to live. Meng Xiaochan learned of a piece of news, her eyes flickering with contemplation before she left her cave dwelling and departed from the great dream Immortal City. In the blink of an eye, more than a month passed. The incident with the third young master of the Yu family was just a minor interlude for Lu Chongqing. It hadn't affected his life in any significant way. He continued his daily routine of cultivation, talisman making, working, and assisting Shao Qing with dual cultivation. Although he said he was helping Shao Qing with dual cultivation, he himself also benefited quite a bit. Since something needed to be done anyway, cultivation was joyful and also improved his cultivation level. With his slight control, Shao Qing did not get pregnant, but 2 other maids did. Lu Chongqing didn't mind. After all, he couldn't just stop having children because the Lu family's situation was not looking good. Could he? These maids in the 9 Dragons Market, the affairs of the Lu family, would not affect them here. On this day, Lu Chongqing was meditating on the 2nd floor of the spiritual talisman shop when suddenly a rush of panicky voices came. "Second master, something terrible has happened. The first master has been gravely injured, unconscious, and might not make it." Chapter 209. Sister Miaoge. Offended. _1 What? Sister Miaoge is critically injured, unconscious, and might not make it? Upon hearing this, Lu Changsheng's eyes suddenly opened wide, with a sword-like gleam flashing through them. He hastily got up and walked out of the room, looking at Zhang Shan and asking what had happened. "Second master, I really don't know what happened. Just now, my wife saw the badly injured big boss in the city and hurriedly brought her here, but she was already unconscious by the time she arrived," Zhang Shan said anxiously. After hearing this, Lu Chongqing didn't ask any more questions and immediately went downstairs. He arrived at the 1st floor lounge. There, he immediately saw Zhang Shan's wife, Bai Su, propping Lu Miaoge up in a chair. At that moment, Lu Miaoge's exquisitely beautiful face, as pure as snow, was incredibly pale without a trace of color, and fresh blood was oozing from the corner of her mouth. Her beautiful eyes were dim and closed, her eyebrows slightly furrowed, showing signs of pain. Her snow-white dress was somewhat disheveled and torn, stained red with blood. On her back, There was a noticeable wound from which black malevolent energy was seeping out. Lu Chongqing could tell at a glance that Lu Miaoge was in very bad shape. Her vitality was faint, and death was pervading her. Sister Miaoge. Seeing Lu Miaoge in this condition, Lu Changsheng's face changed, and he stepped forward to support her. He took out a porcelain bottle from his storage bag, poured out an elixir, and put it into Lu Miaoge's mouth. This was the first-grade top-quality healing pill he had bought himself, known for its restorative effects. He then took out a dew talisman and used it on Lu Miaoge. Changsheng. Hearing Lu Changsheng's voice, Lu Miaoge barely opened her eyes. Her pale face managed to show a faint smile, seemingly wanting to say something. But as soon as she opened her mouth, blood seeped from the corner of her lips. No use. Such an injury has already damaged the heart meridian and is spreading throughout the body. To heal and save a life, at least a second-rank top-quality elixir, or even a third-rank elixir would be needed. Lu Chongqing grasped Lu Miaoge's wrist to check her condition. He found that her situation was extremely dire. She was completely in a critical state, as if the oil was gone and the lamp was burning out. Not only were her injuries severe, but the strike on her back also had a tyrannical force that was eroding and devouring Lu Miaoge's spiritual power and vitality. His ordinary healing pills and talisman spells were utterly ineffective. What to do? What to do? Thoughts raced through Lu Changsheng's mind at high speed. He pondered how to save Lu Miaoge. After all, he had always held special affection for Lu Miaoge, the young lady, in his heart. The two had known each other for so many years, spent so much time together, and had developed deep feelings for each other. Even in his heart, Lu Chongqing had long considered Lu Miaoge his woman, the mother of his future children. This situation made it impossible for Lu Chongqing to watch Lu Miaoge die. A third-rank elixir is simply impossible to buy. A second-rank life-saving elixir isn't so easy to obtain either. Moreover, there's no time for me to look for a second-rank elixir now. In this situation, only by asking a Foundation establishment great cultivator skilled in healing is there a hope of saving her life. Lu Chongqing could only think of two methods, but neither was feasible. Just then, he suddenly thought of a method: dual cultivation. In the yin-yang harmony technique, there was a recorded secret technique. Nirvana art, this was a replenishing technique. By continuously harnessing a woman's fundamental yin energy, the great medicine of the human body, it could be used to heal one's own injuries and attain rebirth. Lu Chongqing, who had thoroughly comprehended the yin-yang harmony technique, was very clear about this. This cultivation technique could be practiced in reverse with yin and yang interchanging. Using his own pure yang energy, the essence of his human body, to nourish a woman, to treat her injuries and allow for a rebirth. But I'm no longer a pure yang body, and my cultivation is only at the qi refinement realm. Even if I use the nirvana art, the effect is limited, and against such injuries, it's not certain that she can be saved, Lu Chongqing thought to himself. He knew that even with such a secret technique, it wouldn't be simple to save Lu Miaoge. Moreover, his relationship with Lu Miaoge hadn't progressed to that stage. And it wouldn't be right to use such a secret technique to save someone. Chongsheng, be careful when you go out. The assailant is no ordinary robber cultivator. They came prepared, Lu Miaoge said, coughing up blood. Sister Miaoge, don't talk right now, you must hold on, Lu Chongqing immediately said. He could see that Lu Miaoge was hanging on by a thread. Once she finished speaking her mind and her mental spirit relaxed, she would pass away. Cough, cough. Chongqing, you once asked me what I looked for in a Tao companion. Actually, I think you're quite suitable. It's just that you're too sentimental. And you already have, Miaoyun. However, dying in front of you, I am already content. Cough, cough. My only regret is the despair of never reaching Foundation establishment. I hope you can experience it for me. Lu Miaoge, knowing she was about to die, spoke her true feelings. And she didn't forget to encourage Lu Chongqing to continue cultivating. As soon as she finished speaking, her eyes began to dim. Sister Miaoge, hold on. I have a way to save you, Lu Chongqing said directly. At this moment, he no longer hesitated or overthought. He decided to use the Nirvana art to treat Lu Miaoge. Because apart from the Nirvana art, Lu Chongqing had no other options. As for losing her innocence and exposing his techniques, Lu Chongqing didn't want to think too much about that at this time. Saving her was what mattered most. Besides, she had now confessed her feelings. After the treatment, she would become the mother of his children. Having made his decision, Lu Chongqing no longer hid his abilities. He infused his 7 luminaries' spiritual power into Lu Miaoge's body, first to halt the malevolent energy at her wound from destroying her vitality. Chongqing, Lu Miaoge, feeling the spiritual power surge into her body, was momentarily startled. She hadn't expected Lu Changsheng's spiritual power to be so robust. But just speaking had used up all her strength, and her consciousness was fading fast. Chapter 210. Sister Miaoge. Offended. I'm going to heal Sister Miaoge. Don't let anyone disturb me. Lu Chongqing knew he couldn't delay any longer. After speaking, he gently lifted Lu Miaoge's delicate and soft body and swiftly made his way to the 3rd floor. He then took out a set of formation tools from his storage bag and laid them out. He set up the superior formation Heavenly Canopy 5 Elements formation, which he had obtained from Xiaolong. He brought Lu Miaoge to the bedroom and laid her on the bed. Sister Miaoge, I apologize for the offense. Lu Chongqing didn't hesitate. He directly began to undo her blood-stained white dress, peeling away the fabric. Her alluring fair skin was revealed. Her curves undulated, her figure captivating, as though she were heaven's perfect creation. A healer holds a parent's heart. I am now saving a life, with no other thoughts. Lu Chongqing chanted to himself as he saw the usually pure and ethereal Lu Miaoge revealed without her mysterious veil, her icy beauty unveiled. But on the flawless, lustrous back of her jade-like body, there was a dark, black wound oozing with a malevolent aura. Lu Chongqing took out a dew talisman from his storage bag and placed it on the wound on her back. Chongqing. At that moment, the last bit of consciousness in Lu Miaoge made her pale face flush with a trace of red, and she faintly called out his name. But she was too weak to speak, and her consciousness was fading. She could only let Lu Chongqing arrange her in such an embarrassing position. Sister Miaoge, I apologize for the offense, Lu Chongqing repeated. And then, on the 3rd floor of the spiritual talisman shop, Lu Chongqing operated the yin-yang nirvana art, channeling his own yang essence to treat Lu Miaoge's injuries. By this time, Lu Miaoge had already lost consciousness. She was barely clinging to life, sustained only by Lu Changsheng's efforts. Though she was unconscious, she seemed to sense something. Her jade body, covered only by a pair of white silk luo socks, tensed slightly, her figure moving subtly. And so, as time slowly passed, the malevolent aura from the wound on Lu Miaoge's back was gradually suppressed and contained. Life began to slowly return to her body. It's working. Miss, oh miss, I'm spending my life to heal you. You'd better make it up to me when the time comes. Lu Chongqing looked at the still unconscious but now slightly frowning Lu Miaoge and exhaled softly. He knew with his yang cultivation, even with the yin-yang nirvana art, it was very difficult to truly save Lu Miaoge. He decisively used another secret technique from the yin-yang harmony technique, the life transference technique. Using this method, he sacrificed his own lifespan to transfer his essence and yang essence into Lu Miaoge's body. Hu! Lu Chongqing took a deep breath. Then he grabbed one of the white-socked, delicate jade feet and continued the healing. Down on the 1st floor of the spiritual talisman shop. What's going on with Miaoge? What's the situation now? How is my sister doing? The 2nd elder and Lu Miaohuan rushed to the spiritual talisman shop upon learning of Lu Miaoge's situation to inquire. 2nd elder Lu, I'm unclear about the situation as well. At the time, the master was already at death's door, with only a thread of life remaining. But 2nd master said he had a way to save her, so he took the master to the 3rd floor and said he must not be disturbed. Zhang Shan sighed slightly as he spoke. He was also a cultivator. Though he was only at the 6th level of qi refinement, he could see that Lu Miaoge was almost at death's door. Unless there was some elixir or a foundation establishment great cultivator skilled in healing, there might be a chance to save her. How long has it been? And there's still no response? Lu Miaohuan asked anxiously, wearing a black dress, her delicate features showing urgency. She was a bit rebellious and liked to oppose her sister Lu Miaoge, but the love between the two sisters was still deep. It's been 1 day, but I don't know the specifics and didn't dare to disturb them, Zhang Shan said. 1 day already? That's too long. No, I have to go see. Upon hearing this, Lu Miaohuan said urgently, wanting to go upstairs to check. Miss Lu, this second master specifically instructed not to disturb him. Zhang Shan displayed a troubled expression. Miaohuan. Seeing this, the second elder immediately called out to Lu Miaohuan. If Chongqing says he has a way to save Miaoge, perhaps he really does. The second elder thought of the old ancestor once saying that Lu Chongqing was a person of great destiny. Perhaps he truly had a way to heal Lu Miaoge. Moreover, so much time had passed, and they could only rely on Lu Chongqing now. Miaoge has talismans and magic artifacts for protection. Ordinary robber cultivators are no match for her. It's very likely that this time it wasn't an ordinary robber cultivator, but someone who came prepared. I will notify the family of the situation, and Miaohuan, you must not leave the 9 Dragons market. It's best if you stay in the big courtyard. The second elder continued speaking to Lu Miaohuan. Then he looked at Zhang Shan. If Chongsheng comes out, please let someone inform me. Don't worry, second elder Lu. If the master comes out, he'll send someone to notify you immediately. Zhang Shan gave a fist salute and nodded. Back on the 3rd floor of the spiritual talisman shop, Lu Chongqing was still treating Lu Miaoge. Just then, a soft, tender moan sounded. Lu Chongqing heard the noise and instantly felt joy in his heart. He knew that Lu Miaoge's condition had improved. He immediately intensified the treatment, careful not to lose the hard-won spark of life. But as he looked at the woman before him, with her hair like a waterfall, skin like snow, and a graceful figure, Lu Chongqing suddenly realized an issue. What if Lu Miaoge woke up? Given the current situation, he felt somewhat awkward about how to face her. After all, the relationship between him and Lu Miaoge wasn't that close. Although he was doing this to save her, for someone like Lu Miaoge, her purity was of great importance. Chapter 211. Sister Miaoge. Offended. As Lu Chongqing was pondering how to face Lu Miaoge when she woke up, he heard her soft moan again. The sound was tender and contained a slight hint of inhibited endurance. In that moment, Lu Chongqing immediately realized that Lu Miaoge was very likely awake. Lu Chongqing wanted to speak up, but for a moment, he didn't know what to say. Looking at Lu Miaoge with her beautiful eyes tightly shut and suppressing her voice, Lu Chongqing suddenly understood. In this situation, it wasn't just him who felt awkward. Lu Miaoge felt awkward too. She didn't know how to face him either. After all, Lu Miaoge's personality was gentle and aloof. Her heartfelt confessions earlier had been prompted by the face of impending death. Now, having revived and under these circumstances, it naturally made Lu Miaoge uncertain how to react. Like an ostrich, she continued to pretend to be unconscious, trying hard not to make any sound. Understanding the gist of the situation, and seeing Lu Miaoge like this, Lu Chongqing thought of a way to alleviate the awkwardness. His palm gently caressed Lu Miaoge's back, smooth as white jade and flawless as if the injuries had never existed. At this moment, the injured skin on her back had healed completely, smooth like jade, leaving no trace of wounds. Then, Lu Chongqing gently embraced Lu Miaoge. Burying his head into her slender, jade-like neck, he inhaled the faint fragrance of her hair. In these conditions, Lu Miaoge still kept her beautiful eyes firmly shut. But her pale cheeks were flushed to the tips of her ears, her breathing somewhat rapid. The words spoken before dying, the situation at the moment, made Lu Miaoge feel so embarrassed and ashamed. She wished she hadn't woken up, that she had just died instead. But then she thought of Lu Changsheng's worried and caring look. Right now, the treatment he was giving her was solely to save her life. She could distinctly feel the continuous flow of vitality entering her body through this method, healing her injuries. And her injuries had been contained. It was just that she still felt incredibly weak. Knowing that Lu Changsheng's actions definitely involved significant sacrifice. Otherwise, with the severity of her injuries, she would have been beyond saving. As her thoughts scattered, with Lu Changsheng's treatment speeding up, Lu Miaoge gradually found it harder to suppress her Buddhist instincts, clinging tightly to the sheets, biting her lips, hoping for Lu Changsheng to finish the treatment soon so he would leave. Otherwise, she really didn't know how to confront Lu Changsheng. After all, she had a fondness for Lu Changsheng, but her feelings weren't yet deep. Usually, she somewhat regarded him as a younger brother. Moreover, nominally, Lu Changsheng was her brother-in-law. To be in such a state with her brother-in-law, Lu Changsheng, of course, had no idea what Lu Miaoge was thinking. He continued tirelessly, growing more vigorous in his efforts. After all, Lu Miaoge's condition was indeed still weak and needed stabilizing through treatment. He was also observing Lu Miaoge's condition, gauging her limits, careful not to take his teasing too far. After all, such matters had to be taken one step at a time. Time ticked away. How much longer will this last if I don't wake up? Will Changsheng keep going like this? But isn't it said in the book? Lu Miaoge gasped for air. Her entire body felt slack like mud under the treatment, unaware of how much longer Lu Changsheng would take. She thought to herself that she should have spoken up when she woke up. Now numb and limp, she didn't even have the strength to talk. At that moment, seeing Lu Miaoge sweating profusely and her feet arched in tension, Lu Changsheng knew her condition was temporarily stable, and he let out a low growl, ending the treatment. Afterward, he collapsed as if completely drained of energy, falling into unconsciousness. Changsheng! Lu Miaoge came back to her senses from the lingering aftermath and saw Lu Changsheng lying motionless. She couldn't help but call out to him twice. But seeing that Lu Changsheng gave no response, her heart couldn't help but race, her mind in turmoil. She worried that Lu Changsheng might have harmed himself in the process of saving her. Pop! Lu Miaoge pursed her lips slightly and propped herself up a bit to look at Lu Changsheng. She immediately saw Lu Changsheng's handsome face, which was exhausted and pale. Changsheng! Lu Miaoge called out with concern, wanting to check on Lu Changsheng's condition. And just at that moment, Lu Changsheng opened his tired eyes. Sister Miaoge, you're awake. That's great. Lu Changsheng looked at Lu Miaoge and showed a weak but happy smile. Changsheng, are you all right? Lu Miaoge asked concernedly. I'm fine, just a bit drained, cough cough. Lu Changsheng spoke softly. Sister Miaoge, I'm sorry at that time, cough cough cough. I wasn't thinking about much. I just wanted to save you. So, after a moment of silence, Lu Miaoge, with a complex look in her eyes, bit her lip gently and said softly, Changsheng, don't blame yourself. Thank you for saving me. Sister Miaoge, I will take responsibility, cough cough. When the time comes, I will ask the family head for your hand in marriage. Would you like to marry me? Lu Changsheng continued, his face weak but filled with hope. Marry, a proposal. Upon hearing this, Lu Miaoge's mind was in chaos. She didn't quite know how to reply for a while. The pace of this change in their relationship was too rapid. It took her a moment to adjust, to come back to her senses from the current situation. Sister Miaoge, don't you want to? Lu Changsheng said, somewhat disheartened. Changsheng, can you give me some time? Lu Miaoge, holding one of Lu Changsheng's hands, looked into his eyes tenderly. Cough cough. Okay. Lu Changsheng nodded gently. He knew that Lu Miaoge must be feeling very confused right now. The deed was already done. There was no need to rush at this moment. Changsheng, are you sure you're all right? To save me, you must have paid a significant price, right? Lu Miaoge said with a face full of concern. Lu Changsheng looked as if he had something to say but couldn't bring himself to say it. After a moment of silence, he said, I'm fine. I just need some rest. Chongqing, please tell me the truth. Seeing Lu Chongqing looking like this, how could Lu Miaoge possibly believe that he was fine? Sister Miaoge, you should know that I have some secrets. This time it was a type of dual cultivation secret technique. Lu Chongqing confessed quietly. Emicham, I know, I do not blame you. Chongqing, everyone has their secrets. I realized early on you were different from ordinary cultivators. Don't worry, I will definitely keep your secret safe, Lu Miaoge immediately asserted, her pale face turning serious as she raised her hand as if to swear. I naturally trust you, Sister Miaoge. What I mean is, this type of healing belongs to a kind of dual cultivation technique. If I wish to recover slowly, I must use another kind of dual cultivation secret technique, Lu Chongqing said with a wry smile. After hearing his words, Lu Miaoge blushed deeply, her embarrassment reaching her ears. But considering their current situation, she bit her lip and nodded. Afterward, Lu Chongqing passed on the tender embrace technique to Lu Miaoge. P.S. The second chapter will be a bit late, but it will come. Chapter 212. 70 Kids Draw Lottery. Profound Origin Bead. _1 Spiritual Talisman Shop. 3rd floor. Inside the bedroom, a man and a woman embraced in sleep. Scattered beside the bed were a green bamboo leaf brocade robe and blood-stained white clothes, undergarments, and a lotus corset. Lu Miaoge woke up, looking at Lu Chongqing, who was still hugging her in his sleep. The events of the past few days flashed through her mind. Her already pale cheeks instantly flushed with color, red as blood. She even felt as if she was dreaming. At first, it was Lu Chongqing healing her wounds. But then, it turned into her healing Lu Changsheng's wounds. After that, it became the two of them healing through dual cultivation. Thinking of the details of the dual cultivation process, and how Lu Chongqing had playfully tormented her, Lu Miaoge couldn't help but blush to the tips of her ears and touched her lower abdomen. Sigh! She let out a helpless sigh. She could only say it was fortunate they were healing through dual cultivation. Otherwise, she feared that in a few months' time upon her return, she would have to go back with a bulging belly. Thinking of going back with a bulging belly, the gazes of her father, the fourth elder, and Lu Miaoyun, she dared not continue the thought. Lu Miaoge no longer dwelled on the thought and slightly sat up. Looking at the marks on her flawless body, her gaze towards Lu Chongqing was filled with a trace of resentment. She couldn't help thinking, no wonder Lu Chongqing had so many wives and concubines. If there were only one, how could she withstand such rough treatment? Lu Miaoge took out a new set of clothes from her storage bag and dressed herself, restoring her usual ethereal and elegant appearance. Sister Miaoge. At this moment, Lu Chongqing, hearing the movement, also woke up. He wasn't pretending to be asleep. This round of healing indeed left him extremely exhausted and weary. Chongqing, you're awake. How is your body feeling? Lu Miaoge pursed her lips and asked tenderly with a voice like a virtuous wife and loving mother. It's not too bad. With a few more sessions of dual cultivation, I should be able to fully recover, Lu Chongqing said, smiling and speaking frankly. Dual cultivating with Shaoqing wasn't much help to him. But dual cultivating with Lu Miaoge was indeed much more effective. It was almost equivalent to half a month of arduous cultivation. However, he couldn't solely rely on this method for cultivation. Occasionally using dual cultivation to advance was beneficial for both men and women. But if it was too frequent, it could lead to an unstable foundation. Lu Miaoge, hearing the words dual cultivation, couldn't help but blush, although dual cultivation was beneficial for her as well. She had experienced it over these days, but she still found it somewhat difficult to let go. Sister Miaoge, what exactly happened with the attack you encountered? Lu Chongqing knew Lu Miaoge was a bit shy, so he got dressed and changed the subject. On my way here, I encountered 4 law cultivators at the late stage of energy refinement, she responded softly. They all concealed their faces, but through their methods, it was obvious they came prepared, specifically targeting me. she continued. However, I don't know who they were or who they were acting under. It might be the Qin family who sent them, but it's also possible that other families were involved, trying to shift the disaster eastward and give the Qin family trouble. Lu Miaoge spoke quietly. Lu Chongqing nodded upon hearing her words. If they concealed their faces and auras, it would be really difficult to identify them and find out who was behind the act. After all, when the wall falls, everybody pushes. The situation with the Lu family, as Lu Miaoge described, other families could very likely be involved. Sister Miaoge, let's leave this matter to be handled by the family, Lu Chongqing said. Regarding your condition, you can announce to the outside world that your heart meridians were damaged, which might bring some unexpected benefits, he suggested. Under his treatment, Lu Miaoge's body wasn't damaged to the point of affecting her heart meridians, but she still needed to recover for a while. Saying so would not only create a smokescreen but also help conceal the effects of his treatment. All right, I will inform them as such when the time comes. Lu Miaoge nodded slightly in response. She continued, by now, the second elder should also be aware. We should go and inform him so as not to worry him. She had already become accustomed to sharing a room with Lu Chongqing. But now that their relationship had progressed further, she was somewhat unsure how to act around him. Sitting like this, she couldn't help but be reminded of the events of the last few days, leaving her heart in turmoil. We should let him know, Lu Chongqing agreed. The incident involving Lu Miaohuan and Zheng Yongshan had reached Lu Miaoge's ears. Now that Lu Miaoge was seriously injured, the second elder would definitely have been informed. Chongqing, regarding the healing, I will keep it a secret and claim that you came across an elixir and a secret technique by chance. As for what has transpired between us, let's not mention it to anyone for now, all right? Lu Miaoge took a breath, her voice carrying a bit of a plea. She could face Lu Chongqing normally, but she wasn't sure how to deal with what had happened between them, or how to face the fourth elder and Lu Miaoyun. All right, I'll listen to you, Sister Miaoge. I definitely won't mention it to anyone, Lu Chongqing responded with a smile. He was also aware that their relationship had taken quite a sudden leap forward these past few days. The affection between them needed more time to grow. Afterward, he cleaned up the traces left in the bedroom from the past days and went downstairs. First master, second master. Zhang Shan greeted them respectfully as they descended from the upper floor. He conveyed the information regarding the second elder and Lu Miaohuan's visit. Thank you, Uncle Zhang. Aunt Bai was a great help with Sister Miaoge's situation. This is a small token of my gratitude, Lu Chongqing said, taking out 3 superior-grade talismans from the storage bag as a thank-you gift. If it hadn't been for Zhang Shan's wife getting Lu Miaoge to him in time, he might not have had the chance to see her again. Second master, you're too kind, Zhang Shan said, waving his hand in denial. But seeing Lu Changsheng's insistence, Zhang Shan accepted the talismans. After all, 3 superior-grade talismans were not a small sum for him. Chapter 213. Lottery Draw for 70 Kids. Profound Origin Bead. Watching Lu Chongqing and Lu Miaoge leave side by side, looking like a golden boy and jade girl, Zhang Shan couldn't help but take a few more glances. He always felt that today the two bosses seemed to have become much closer, but he couldn't quite put his finger on where. Regarding this, he didn't pay much attention, as it was none of his business. Eastern District, Lu family's large courtyard. Miaoge, I'm glad you're all right. Chongqing, I owe you a great debt this time. Rest assured, I will report this to the family and apply for a reward for you, the second elder said upon seeing the somewhat pale faces of Lu Miaoge and Lu Chongqing. He couldn't help but inwardly remark that indeed, as the old ancestor had said, Lu Chongqing was a person of great destiny and had opportunities at his disposal. If it weren't for Lu Chongqing this time, perhaps Lu Miaoge would have been in danger. Lu Miaoge was not only talented but also a high-quality talisman master. If something had actually happened to her, it would have been adding frost to snow for the Lu family's current situation. You flatter me, second elder. This is what I should do? Lu Chongqing said with a bow. Soon after, the second elder also expressed that he had already sent a message back to the Lu family. Moreover, he would ask the enforcement team of the Nine Dragons Market to investigate the perpetrator behind the scenes. If an ordinary loose cultivator died, they'd be dead. No one would know or care. But Lu Miaoge, as a descendant of the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain, having encountered an assassination near the Nine Dragons Market and returning to the marketplace severely wounded, the marketplace would have to give an explanation. After all, such an incident would also reflect poorly on the marketplace itself. Most cultivators come to the marketplace seeking stability. If there are such bold robber cultivators who even ambush the descendants of cultivation families, it would naturally cause loose cultivators to feel uneasy and affect the marketplace's traffic. Meanwhile, in an inn at the Nine Dragons Market, how could you fail at such a simple task? 4 of you, and yet you still couldn't kill a 7th-level energy refinement cultivator. Third young master of the Yu family, Yu Ningyuan, said to the 4 people before him, his face dark with anger. Third young master, Lu Miaoge survived by using talismans to escape near the marketplace, so we didn't dare continue the pursuit. And she had been hit by my black fiend slash, with her life force beginning to fade, so her death seemed certain. I have no idea how she managed to survive, a stocky middle-aged man said while bowing. He also couldn't understand how Lu Miaoge had managed to survive. Humph! A bunch of useless trash. The third young master of the Yu family huffed coldly. He came here not only to poach Lu Chongqing, but also had other motives. That was to eliminate Lu Chongqing, Lu Miaoge, and several other Lu family disciples as much as possible. Not only could it severely damage the vitality of the Lu family, but it would also infuriate them. When these things came to light, the Lu family would immediately suspect the Qin family. The Lu family was already like a trapped beast, constantly in friction with the Qin family. Once these incidents emerged, the conflict would explode, leading to an all-out confrontation with the Qin family. But he hadn't expected that the 4 people he had arranged failed to kill Lu Miaoge, a 7th-level energy refinement cultivator. And now that this incident had occurred, the Lu family members would surely be on guard, making it harder to find another opportunity. System. After Lu Chongqing returned home, he murmured inwardly and opened the system interface. Name: Lu Chongqing. Status: son-in-law of Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain. Cultivation level: 7th level energy refinement. Lifespan: 27/155. Talent: 6th grade spiritual root. Cultivation techniques: 100 refinements treasure body art, 7 luminaries great freedom sword scripture, spells. Flame bullet technique, wind control skill, object manipulating technique, aura concealment technique, spiritual eye technique, sound transmitting technique, skills. Talisman making, 2nd. Rank, puppet, 2nd rank. Spiritual pets, 9 netherhound, peach blossom goo, offspring. 68/81. View details. 155, which means, saving that person cost me 8 years of my lifespan, Lu Chongqing murmured as he checked his lifespan through the system. He knew that saving someone using the life transference technique and the nirvana art had cost him his own lifespan, but didn't know exactly how many years had been consumed. Now, seeing it on the system interface gave him a clear understanding. It seems that I really can't do this too often, otherwise no amount of lifespan would be enough. Lu Chongqing couldn't help but exhale deeply. However, he wasn't overly concerned. Mainly because he was still young and had a lot of lifespan left, so he wasn't in a rush. Already 68 children. I wonder if at 70 the system will give any more child money? Lu Chongqing thought to himself. Given the current situation of the Lu family, the urgency to improve his strength had intensified. But to enhance one's strength, apart from relying on time to cultivate, the fastest method was through opportunities. While others obtained chances through exploring relics and antecedents caves, he naturally relied on having children and then receiving child money from the system. In the blink of an eye, more than a month had passed. 3rd floor of the spiritual talisman shop. On the table and chairs beside the bed lay neatly folded white swirling dresses, white undergarments, plain lotus belly bands, belts, and blue-green bamboo leaf robes. Chongqing, I'll leave the shop in your care. Lu Miaoge, no longer paler, looked fresh and radiant. Her graceful, alluring figure lay in Lu Changsheng's arms as she softly spoke. When it came to matters of men and women, there was a first time, a second time, a third time. At first, Lu Miaoge was somewhat reserved. But after Lu Chongqing suggested dual cultivation for healing, which led to the second and third times, she gradually loosened up. This time, however, she was about to leave, returning to Qingzhou Mountain. So the two of them spent the whole night healing in the spiritual talisman shop. Okay, I'll take care of the shop, Lu Chongqing nodded in reply, but in truth he felt a bit helpless. He had originally planned to return to Qingzhou Mountain with the second elder. However, Lu Miaoge had to go back because of the assassination attempt, so he was left to hold the fort here. Chapter 214, 70 Children's Draw, Profound Origin Bead. Lu Miaoge gave Lu Chongqing a peck on the cheek and then threw back the covers. A pair of slender, jade-like legs stretched out, and the crystal-clear, crescent moon-like feet touched the ground, presenting her beautifully curved figure as she quickly dressed. She restored herself to the usual ethereal beauty, as pure as snow and as elegant as a celestial. However, at this moment, the tenderness on her face made her seem less ethereal than usual. Chongqing, I will head there first, Lu Miaoge said gently. All right, Sister Miaoge, be careful. Lu Chongqing nodded. With the beautiful lady having departed, Lu Chongqing also got up, exhaled softly, and dressed himself. He could feel that, although Lu Miaoge was close and intimate with him, she seemed to be indulging and appeasing him a bit. Or rather, Lu Miaoge didn't entertain the idea of marrying him. Therefore, she tried to accommodate him in other aspects as a form of compensation. After all, we are missing a certain opportunity. Or perhaps, the young lady has a hurdle in her heart she can't overcome. Lu Chongqing had a rough idea of why Lu Miaoge behaved this way. One reason was the issue with the fourth elder and Lu Miaoyun, which Lu Miaoge didn't know how to face. The other was having children. Lu Miaoge still harbored the ambition of the path of cultivation, aiming for a slim chance at foundation establishment. Having children would undoubtedly delay and affect her cultivation. Sigh, I don't necessarily need to have children either. Lu Chongqing shook his head. As for having children, he also left it to personal choice. If Lu Miaoge truly didn't want to, he wouldn't force her to do anything. After all, he very much understood such matters for cultivators. However, in his case, with many wives, concubines, and maids, children were plenty. Any woman marrying him was likely influenced, feeling the need to have at least a couple of children. But now I have to stay here for half a year. The matter of having children will have to be put aside. Lu Chongqing sighed. He thought of how he had sent back to Qingzhou Mountain all his maids with spiritual roots. Now, in Nine Dragons Marketplace, aside from Shaoqing, the other maids did not possess spiritual roots. Under such circumstances, his plans for superior progeny became somewhat challenging. Do I need to visit the White Jade Tower again? Lu Chongqing pondered to himself. It's been a long time since I've performed a good deed. I'll take it as doing something good. After considering, Lu Chongqing decided to make a trip to the White Jade Tower after all. After all, his efforts at breeding superior offspring mustn't cease. Counting Lu Miaoge, he only had 11 wives, concubines, and maids with spiritual roots. Meanwhile, Red Leaf Valley. Senior, are you saying that you are willing to lend a hand to the Chun family? Chun family patriarch Chun Shuixing asked the petite youth before him with respect. Indeed, I have an old grudge with someone from the Lu family. Hearing that there is a blood feud between your Chun family and the Lu family, and with the Lu family ancestor about to pass away, I've come to settle this grudge and, by the way, claim a share of the spoils. Meng Xiaochan said aloud. That would certainly be acceptable. May I know what conditions or requirements you have, senior? Chun Shuixing continued respectfully upon hearing this. After all, despite his unimpressive appearance, the slim youth before him was a foundation establishment great cultivator. In the blink of an eye, more than a month had passed. Lu Chongqing had also added 3 maids in his courtyard at the Nine Dragons Market. They were, of course, the unfortunate souls he had rescued from White Jade Tower. All 3 possessed spiritual roots. However, their spiritual roots were not high, only 9th grade spiritual roots. It wasn't that Lu Chongqing had run out of spirit stones. He thought that since he couldn't afford maids with middle grade spiritual roots anyway, he might as well save some money. He also just wanted to see how much his middle grade spiritual root would influence his children's spiritual roots. Phew! With this pace, in half a year, I should be able to break through to the 8th level energy refinement. Inside the spiritual talisman shop, Lu Chongqing, who had been meditating with his eyes closed, opened his eyes and let out a long breath. Having such a cultivation speed was partly thanks to the assistance of the tender embrace technique. Another reason was that he continuously spent money and boosted his progress with elixir medicines. But with this speed of cultivation, Lu Chongqing still wasn't satisfied. After finishing his cultivation session, Lu Chongqing stood up and went to the talisman room, ready to draw talismans. Although he had come to Nine Dragons Market to take charge, the number of talismans he had to draw every month had indeed increased. He also had to spend quite some time each day drawing talismans. Just as he had taken out the talisman-making materials and was about to start the talisman-making process, a system prompt rang out. Congratulations to the host for having 70 descendants. You have earned 1 lucky draw chance. Really 20 portions of child money? In that case, by the looks of it, will the next one be at 90 or 100 children? Hearing this system prompt, Lu Chongqing couldn't help but raise an eyebrow and speculate. However, this time, neither Jiang Luiyue nor Yu Yao's children have spiritual roots. The next moment, Lu Chongqing shook his head slightly. He clearly remembered who the mothers of his 69th and 70th children were during this period. But neither of the children had shown signs of spiritual root pulsations, indicating that they did not possess spiritual roots. System, draw the prize. Without giving it too much thought, Lu Chongqing silently uttered in his mind, wondering if this time the lucky draw could bring him a pleasant surprise. Immediately, the great spinning wheel of the system appeared. Begin the lucky draw, Lu Chongqing said without hesitation. The spinning wheel was aglow with golden brilliance as it began to turn. It then slowly came to rest on the treasure section of the lucky draw panel. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a rare treasure. Profound Origin Bead. The reward has been sent to the system space, and the host can check it at any time. A pattern of a deep blue bead, along with the system prompt, appeared. A rare treasure. The Profound Origin Bead? Seeing the reward he had drawn this time, Lu Chongqing was somewhat curious. He immediately looked towards the system space to check out what this Profound Origin Bead was. Profound Origin Bead, grade, 3rd rank. Description: born from the profound origin waters, it can absorb nature's spiritual energy on its own, store spiritual energy, and after refinement, it is like a cultivator's second chi ocean core. It allows an energy refinement late-stage cultivator to be comparable to foundation establishment, and a foundation establishment late-stage cultivator to be comparable to false core. It can absorb nature's spiritual energy on its own, and after refinement it acts like a second chi ocean core. Late-stage energy refinement comparable to foundation establishment? Late-stage foundation establishment comparable to false core? Lu Chongqing, looking at the description of this rare treasure before him, was taken aback. He had previously thought about whether he could draw something that would quickly enhance his strength. But that was just wishful thinking without much expectation. To his surprise, the system had now awarded him a 3rd-rank rare treasure, the Profound Origin Bead. After refinement, late-stage energy refinement would be comparable to foundation establishment. Late-stage foundation establishment comparable to false core. Such effects were truly astonishing. Chapter 215. Danger. I must prepare for the worst. Underscore 1. Extract. Lu Changsheng's mental spirit stirred slightly as he extracted the profound origin bead from the system space. Instantly, a chicken egg-sized, sapphire blue, lustrous jade bead appeared. At the same time, detailed information about this profound origin bead entered Lu Changsheng's mind. This profound origin bead, simply put, is like a portable battery. For chi refinement and foundation establishment cultivators, it can charge and extend endurance, also amplifying spiritual power and mana. But in the hands of a nascent soul immortal, its effects are rather average. It can only serve as a common amplifying treasure. Lu Changsheng looked at the profound origin bead in his hand, muttering to himself. He had a more clear and direct understanding of the effects of this profound origin bead. However, this effect is already very powerful. It's enough for me until I reach the core formation stage. Once I form my core, I can pass the profound origin bead on to my children. After all, unlike the Book of Malevolent Curses and Fates, it's not a one-off and can be passed down through generations. A smile appeared on Lu Changsheng's face. In his view, this profound origin bead was much better than the Book of Malevolent Curses and Fates. Not only for individuals but also for the family and sect forces, it was an exceptional treasure. Overall, most family forces may face times of scarcity. And that's when the value of the profound origin bead becomes evident. It can stabilize a family with a semblance of foundation establishment, with a semblance of a false core. I am now at the 7th level of energy refinement, and I wonder how much this profound origin bead can enhance my own abilities. Lu Changsheng did not ponder long, bit the tip of his tongue lightly, and sprayed a mouthful of blood onto the profound origin bead. In an instant, the treasure bead absorbed the blood, emitting a brilliant glow, transforming into a stream of light, and entered Lu Changsheng's body, traveling along the meridians to hover above the Qi ocean core. Immediately, Lu Changsheng sat down cross-legged, closing his eyes to refine the profound origin bead and make it perfectly compatible with himself. A month later, 3rd floor of the Spiritual Talisman Shop. It's truly a product of the system, a 3rd-rank treasure. The amount of spiritual energy this profound origin bead can store is about 8 or 9 times what I currently have. Lu Changsheng looked inward at his dantian, gazing at the sapphire bead that had now turned into a blend of 7 colors, his face full of joy. After refining the profound origin bead, he could distinctly feel the spiritual energy inside his 2nd dantian. Just like his own Qi lake, the spiritual energy could circulate without any hindrances. With this profound origin bead, I no longer have to worry about running out of spiritual energy, Lu Changsheng said joyfully. Then, with a subtle motion of his mental spirit, his fingers came together, and a sword light began to form. Releasing spiritual power through spells, the force is roughly tripled due to spiritual pressure. If I exert full force, this amplification could rise a few more times. Lu Changsheng gazed at the sword light in his hand, quietly sensing the changes in spiritual pressure. No wonder the profound origin bead only allows those at the energy refinement late stage to compare with foundation establishment and those at the foundation establishment late stage to compare with the false core. With this 2nd dantian, the quantity of spiritual power I possess far exceeds that of energy refinement, almost comparing to foundation establishment. However, in terms of quality, it still cannot compare with a foundation establishment great cultivator. But my cultivation of the 7 luminaries' great freedom sword scripture, an orthodox level cultivation technique, means my foundation of spiritual power is already far superior to cultivators of the same level. By the time I peak in energy refinement with the support of the profound origin bead, I might not be weaker than a foundation establishment great cultivator. Lu Changsheng's eyes narrowed slightly as he secretly thought. However, he also just thought about it. When he really reached the peak of energy refinement, he wouldn't rely on a treasure to attempt to challenge a foundation establishment great cultivator, who engages in battling across ranks for no reason. He wasn't the protagonist Long Outyin, and Lu Changsheng was very aware that he had a significant problem when it came to battling with spells. He had too few spells at his disposal. Aside from the 7 luminary swordlight, 7 luminary sword shield, 7 luminary sword escape. He had only learned flame bullet technique and object manipulating technique, these common spells. He had neither learned nor practiced slightly more advanced defensive spells. He could only rely on talismans. This profound origin bead not only helps in battle, but also aids in other areas. Now, when I make talismans, I don't have to worry about the consumption of spiritual energy, just my mental spirit, Lu Chongqing said happily. He usually had to meditate to recover his spiritual energy after exhausting it while drawing talismans. But now with the profound origin bead, he didn't have to worry about depleting his spiritual energy anymore. Moreover, after depleting the spiritual energy inside the profound origin bead, it could absorb nature's spiritual energy from the surroundings to slowly recover. I wonder if it's almost time for the Immortal Sex Conference. At this point, Lu Chongqing suddenly remembered that in a few months, it would be time for Qingyun Sect's Immortal Sect assessment. He had previously promised to send Xia Zhaoyang to Qingyun Sect for the Immortal Sect assessment. Forget it. Considering the current season, going out might be risky. It would be the same if I had Hong Yi or Fei Yu take Xia Zhaoyang there. Lu Chongqing thought it over and decided not to make the trip. Although with his current strength and means, as long as he didn't encounter a Foundation establishment great cultivator, it was unlikely anything would happen to him. But it was better to have one less matter to worry about. Immediately, Lu Chongqing wrote several letters and went to the marketplace post station to have them delivered to Rui County City. Time passed by, day after day. In the blink of an eye, another month went by. During this time, the 3 maids from White Jade Tower whom Lu Chongqing had recently taken in were all pregnant. Lu Chongqing didn't pay much attention to the 3 maids. He just let nature take its course. After all, such matters were neither urgent nor could they be hurried. If he truly wanted to engage in frenzied procreation, he had the 5 aggregates proliferation method within the yin-yang harmony technique, which could increase the probability of conception. Second master, that Fairy Su has come back to place another talisman order. That day, as Lu Chongqing was on the 3rd floor studying the history of cultivation, the voice of shopkeeper Zhang Shan came from outside. Chapter 216. Danger. I must prepare for the worst. All right, it'll come down now. Lu Chongqing nodded when he heard this. This Fairy Su, named Su Hongyu, was a major customer of the spiritual talisman shop. She had purchased quite a few talismans from the shop over the past few months. So under such circumstances, it was necessary for him, the owner, to attend to her personally. When he arrived at the reception hall on the 1st floor, he immediately saw a woman who appeared to be in her late 20s, with a beautiful face and dressed in a simple yet elegant purple palace dress. I've seen Fairy Su before. Lu Chongqing greeted her with a smile, as warm as the spring breeze. Talisman Master Lu is here. I've come this time to place a pre-order for a batch of talismans. Su Hongyu spoke with a smile upon seeing Lu Chongqing, her voice warm and alluring. She then handed over a talisman procurement list. Clad in her simple and graceful palace dress, she looked elegant and decent, yet her every move radiated a seductive charm. No problem, it will take around half a month for the shop to prepare these talismans, Lu Chongqing said after glancing at the list. That's fine. Su Hongyu, upon hearing his response, was quite straightforward and then signed the contract and paid the deposit. After everything was settled, Fairy Su turned to Lu Chongqing, smiled gracefully, and said, Talisman Master Lu, I've come across an ancient cave dwelling left by a predecessor outside and am currently looking for a few fellow cultivators to explore it together. Would you be interested? Fairy Su's invitation honors me greatly, but I am not skilled in combat, so I will have to decline. Lu Chongqing courteously declined as soon as he heard her invitation. To be honest, this cave dwelling has certain prohibitions that are difficult to break at the moment, which is why I need to find companions for the exploration, Su Hongyu explained. But if the cultivator's cultivation level is too high, I worry they might covet the treasures for themselves. Talisman Master Lu is not of high cultivation, and being a Lu family disciple and the owner of the spiritual talisman shop, you are obviously trustworthy, which is why I sincerely invited you. Su Hongyu twisted her slender waist slightly and crossed her legs in a somewhat seductive manner as she spoke. My abilities are limited. I will not take part. But thank you for the kind offer, Fairy Su. Lu Chongqing continued to refuse. And at that moment, a sense of wariness rose in his heart. Although he had conducted business with her several times, they hadn't had much contact. The sudden invitation to explore a cave dwelling made him suspicious. Furthermore, as a man who had been through numerous battles and read countless books, Lu Chongqing could tell that the Su Hongyu before him seemed adept in bewitching techniques, aiming to seduce him with her demeanor and actions. Combining this with the recent situation of the Lu family, Lu Chongqing couldn't help but overthink. However, he didn't care about such matters. Even if it was a trap, as long as he didn't take the bait, there would be no harm. Besides, Lu Chongqing was truly uninterested in these kinds of adventures seeking ancient relics and cave dwellings. With all that idle time, he would rather go home and have a couple more kids. Not only would the system accompany the child money, but the kids could also enhance his spiritual root and strength. Since Talisman Master Lu is not interested, then I will have to look elsewhere, Su Hongyu said with a tinge of disappointment, but without insisting and still smiling. Half a month later, Zhang Shan told Lu Chongqing that Fairy Su had come again. Talisman Master Lu. Su Hongyu greeted Lu Chongqing with a smile. This time she was wearing a luxurious golden magical robe. The robe shimmered with spiritual light and was adorned with vivid and lifelike embroidery of a mythic bird. Lu Chongqing could tell at a glance that it was at least a high-quality magical robe, if not a supreme one. Regarding her behavior, however, Lu Chongqing just felt she was not right in the head. Wearing such a conspicuous garment could attract unwanted attention like a lamb ripe for the slaughter. Fairy Su, the talismans you ordered before have been prepared. Please take a look, Lu Chongqing said without any further glances, taking out a pile of talismans from his storage bag. I naturally trust Talisman Master Lu. Su Hongyu took the talismans, glanced at them, and smiled. After paying the remaining amount of spirit stones, Su Hongyu continued, I was wondering if you have any first-grade prohibition-breaking talismans here? Prohibition-breaking talismans? The prohibition-breaking talisman is a first-grade supreme talisman, very difficult to create. I'm not sure how many you need, Fairy Su, but if it's only one or two, I can request one of the family elders to draw them, Lu Chongqing replied. Prohibition-breaking talismans belong to the category of first-grade supreme talismans, their difficulty akin to second-rank talismans. Even for the fourth elder, the success rate of crafting them was not high. Yet, for Lu Chongqing it wasn't really a problem. However, as a business transaction, he couldn't offer more than that. The more the better, Su Hongyu said. She continued with a charming smile, Talisman Master Lu, I need the prohibition-breaking talismans for the final stage of my previous cave-dwelling exploration. It's a shame Talisman Master Lu did not come along last time. Not only was it safe, but I also made quite a profit, allowing me to afford this new magical robe, Su Hongyu said, beaming. Congratulations, then, Fairy Su, Lu Chongqing said, his heart remaining undisturbed as he congratulated her with a smile. He immediately added, as for the prohibition-breaking talisman, our shop can only provide one or two. Anything more is truly beyond our ability. Since prohibition-breaking talismans had a low success rate, even the fourth elder couldn't make much profit from them. They were essentially crafted for the sake of the shop's reputation and were sold only in small quantities. Seeing that Lu Chongqing was still not tempted, Su Hongyu paid a deposit, chatted briefly, and then left. There's definitely something wrong. It's absolutely a trap. After Su Hongyu had left, Lu Chongqing went back to the third floor, feeling increasingly certain that Su Hongyu was up to something. She was luring him away from the marketplace. This Su Hongyu, her backers might even be the same people who tried to assassinate Sister Miaoga. Lu Chongqing thought to himself, but it's a pity that I have limited strength. Otherwise, I could follow her bait, turn the tables and investigate the truth, he mused. Chapter 217. Danger. I must prepare for the worst. But in the end, I am just a minor chi refinement cultivator. There is no need to take risks. Time flies and more than 2 months pass. During this time, Lu Chongqing acquired 3 more spiritual root maids from the White Jade Tower. He got 2 of them with child. As for the maids without a spiritual root, after 6 of them became pregnant, Lu Chongqing controlled himself and did not impregnate anymore. After all, there has to be some maids to do chores and take care of the children on regular days. In between, Su Hongyu also made 2 more visits. However, she did not invite Lu Chongqing to explore the cave mansion again. Instead, she expressed that she had gained a lot from the cave mansion, was very happy, and invited Lu Chongqing to a restaurant nearby to celebrate with a meal. Since he was a major client and it was within the marketplace, Lu Chongqing accepted the invitation. When the wine was 3 parts in and their faces were peach blossom-like, Su Hongyu confided to Lu Chongqing about the difficulties she faced as a loose cultivator, bringing the 2 of them closer together. The second visit was quite recent when she invited Lu Chongqing to a loose cultivator meeting. She told Lu Chongqing that apart from trading items and expanding one's connections, there was another implicit purpose to the meeting. It was for those loose cultivators who had little hope of reaching the foundation establishment stage and wanted to find a partner to start a cultivation family, to meet and socialize at such a gathering. She wished to invite Lu Chongqing to join and take part in the festivities. Even though Lu Chongqing was indeed somewhat curious and interested in the gathering, but having identified that the other party was fishing for something, naturally Lu Chongqing would not agree and rejected the offer politely. In the end, Su Hongyu could only leave with a look of deep, unspoken grievance, as if she was looking at a faithless lover. However, the battle-hardened Lu Chongqing was unperturbed internally. Don't think he hasn't been honed by the matters of men and women over the years. However, it must be said, her appearance and figure, coupled with the seductive manner in her behavior, and the seeming willingness to express a degree of fondness, truly made her hard to refuse. It's a pity she met with the battle-hardened, wary Lu Chongqing. That day, on the 3rd floor of the spiritual talisman shop, Lu Chongqing, who was meditating with eyes closed and surrounded by 7 fierce strands of sword qi, suddenly opened his eyes. I have finally reached the 8th level energy refinement. Lu Chongqing looked at the 7-colored Dan lake within his qi ocean core, his face revealing joy. This breakthrough came a bit faster than he had anticipated. Aside from sufficient elixir medicines, it was also due to the improvement of the spiritual root, dual cultivation, and several other reasons. My breakthrough to the 8th level energy refinement has immediately increased the limit of the profound origin bead. It truly is mysterious, Lu Chongqing thought, as he looked at the 7-colored revolving treasure bead above his dantian. Following his breakthrough in realm, the profound origin bead also evolved, gaining an enhancement. This enhancement could continue until the peak of the foundation establishment stage. That would be the limit to the amplification ability of the profound origin bead. However, at this rate, it might take 5 to 6 years to break through to the 9th level energy refinement. The next moment, Lu Chongqing shook his head, estimating his own cultivation speed. Even though this speed, for a 6th grade spiritual root, was already considered very fast. But to Lu Chongqing it still felt a bit slow. After all, he had been in cultivation for less than 10 years. 6 days later, Lu Chongqing suddenly received a message from the 2nd elder, telling him to get ready. They would set off for Qingzhou Mountain in 3 days. As for the spiritual talisman shop, he had arranged for someone to take care of it temporarily. 2nd elder, what's going on? Lu Chongqing immediately sensed something was amiss upon hearing the 2nd elder's words. According to the schedule, the 2nd elder would not return for another half-month. Moreover, he had never been in such a hurry to go back. I've received a family transmission. Many Lu family disciples who were out for training have been attacked. Moreover, recently, the Chun family directly assaulted the great elder in the mining area, gravely injuring him, so the family is recalling all personnel outside back to the clan. The 2nd elder said gravely. The Chun family has taken action? Lu Chongqing was somewhat surprised to hear this. He immediately realized that the conflict between the Chun family and the Lu family was about to erupt. This was no longer just a minor skirmish or friction. Multiple Lu family disciples were attacked, and even the great elder who was in charge of the mining area was directly severely wounded. This indicated that the Chun family was ready to face the Lu family head-on. That's right, the Chun family keeps provoking us. Although the Lu family has retaliated, it hasn't been enough to deter them. They know our ancestor is in bad shape. That's why they dare to act like this. The second elder said with a grim look. The Lu family had suffered a major loss more than a decade ago. They had yet to fully recover from that incident. This wave of attacks had killed many Lu family disciples, adding to the Lu family's troubles. After all, the continuation of the bloodline is very important for a cultivation family. Chongsheng, rest assured, our Lu family has stood tall on Qingzhou Mountain for hundreds of years. We have our own heritage and do not fear the Chun family, the second elder said, as if to relieve Lu Changsheng's worries. Second elder, no matter what, I, Lu Chongsheng, will stand or fall with the Lu family. Lu Chongsheng didn't care whether the other party was trying to calm his heart. The Lu family was about to face a crisis, and he indeed could choose to hide away, living quietly in the Nine Dragons market. But his wives and children were all in the Lu family. He must return this time. Good, 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 the second elder said, looking relieved upon hearing this. It is said that time is the test of truth, and only through hardships do people's true hearts reveal themselves. Lu Chongsheng had been with the Lu family for only 10 years. Now that the Lu family was facing a crisis, exhibiting such a firm stance naturally made him feel he hadn't misjudged the man, feeling extremely gratified. He then told Lu Chongsheng to prepare, and that he would send someone to temporarily take charge of the spiritual talisman shop tomorrow. After the second elder left, Lu Chongsheng went to the third floor to check his storage bag, and to see what preparations still needed to be made. First grade middle grade spirit talismans, 200. First grade superior talismans, 156. First grade supreme talismans, 119. Second grade lower grade spirit talismans, 57. Second grade middle grade spirit talismans, 8. After all, in the cultivation world, weakness is the original sin. Without strength, one simply can't protect a spiritual vein blessed land. Lu Chongsheng shook his head. He knew that even if Ancestor Qin died, it would not signify that the crisis of the Lu family had been resolved. In the end, the crisis of the Lu family stemmed from the imminent death of the Lu family ancestor. And because the Lu family had not produced a new foundation establishment great cultivator. It has been almost 2 years since Lu Yuanshan came back from the Purple Shadow Secret Realm. But for so long, there has been no reaction from the Lu family, no birth of a new foundation establishment great cultivator. Did they come back with nothing, or did the final breakthrough fail? Lu Chongsheng murmured to himself. For an average cultivator, even with both foundation establishment elixirs and foundation establishment spirit objects, the chances of breakthrough are at most 50 to 60%. But how many people can gather both foundation establishment elixir and foundation establishment spirit objects? Most loose cultivators rely on 1 or 2 foundation establishment spirit objects. Many even take the risk without anything, gambling on a slim chance of breaking through. A cultivation family like the Lu family might have some foundation, but they can only guarantee 2 or 3 foundation establishment spirit objects. It's meaningless to keep worrying about a new foundation establishment for the Lu family now. I must prepare for the worst scenario. Lu Chongsheng did not dwell on this matter. He began to simulate scenarios in his mind. If the Lu family ancestor died and a foundation establishment great cultivator came to kill, how he would respond with his wives and children. Whether to bring out the talisman treasure immediately or let the puppets engage in combat while he supported with talismans, or whether, when he brought out the talisman treasure, if he simultaneously unleashed the power of his nurtured treasure bones, would there be a chance to directly slay a foundation builder? Lu Chongsheng continually simulated and contemplated. Unfortunately, no one knew Lu Changsheng's thoughts at that time. Otherwise, they would be utterly dumbfounded and overwhelmingly shocked, thinking that he seemed to be preparing to eliminate someone else's family. Otherwise, why would he go to such lengths? Most cultivators seek benefits. Who would fight a life-and-death battle without good reason? After all, isn't the purpose of cultivation to live well and more freely? Chapter 219. Lu Changxing. Do you know what happened to my sister? _ 3 days later. Lu Changxing took the flying boat of the second elder from Nine Dragons Market back to Qingzhou Mountain. This time, Lu Changxing didn't bring Shaoqing. One reason was that, compared to Qingzhou Mountain, Nine Dragons Market was now much safer. Another was that the flying boat simply couldn't accommodate any more passengers. Not only was it filled with people, but there was also someone riding an iron feather eagle alongside the boat. Lu Changxing, do you know what's wrong with my sister? The last time I saw her, I felt that something was odd. Lu Miaohuan was also on the flying boat and inquired of Lu Changxing through a transmitted message. What seemed odd? Lu Changxing asked, keeping a straight face when he heard this. I'm not sure. I just felt that she has been acting strange since she got hurt last time. Lu Miaohuan wrinkled her nose, unable to specify what exactly was off. But as a sister, she could sense the changes in her older sister. Then, out of curiosity, she asked, by the way, Lu Changxing, how did you treat my sister's injuries? I heard that she was seriously injured at death's door. I happened to come across a life-saving elixir medicine before, and the Changchun technique I practice is somewhat helpful in healing injuries. So I barely managed to stabilize Miss Condition, Lu Changxing said without so much as flushing or skipping a heartbeat. This was the story he and Lu Miaoga agreed upon. Moreover, long ago he had announced that he had switched to practicing the Changchun technique. Given that he had always maintained the appearance of being in his 20s, and with so many wives and concubines, constantly fathering children, it was quite normal for him to choose a cultivation technique that extended his life. Hearing this, Lu Miaohuan didn't think much of it. She continued to talk with Lu Changxing about various everyday matters and mentioned the current situation of the Lu family. Lu Changxing had nothing better to do and engaged in casual conversation with the second Mississippi. The spirit boat flew swiftly across the sky. Just then, abruptly, whoosh, 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 for streaks of light soared into the sky, cutting through the air and shooting toward them. 3 of them blocked the path of the flying boat. One aimed for the iron feather eagle beside it. This is bad. The second elder's face changed dramatically as he saw this, and he shouted angrily. He stimulated the flying boat's defensive array, creating a thick, earthy yellow light barrier. And he also brought out a blue triangular flag which buzzed and produced a light blue watery light barrier, enveloping the flying boat directly. Screech! However, the iron feather eagle, unable to avoid the streaks of light, let out a mournful cry. Blood splattered from its belly, and its wings flapped chaotically. This caused Lu Yuanhua, who was riding on the eagle, to pale. A jade bamboo staff appeared in the second elder's hands as he swept up Lu Yuanhua onto the flying boat, his face grave as he shouted loudly. Who are you rogues, daring to ambush the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain? His voice was cold and sonorous, dripping with authority. On this return trip, he had been vigilant the entire time. And although he had changed the original route, they still encountered an ambush. Humph! It's precisely the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain that we are ambushing. Let's end this quickly. For masked figures, maneuvering their flying artifacts, said in raspy voices. They immediately drove their artifacts, casting spells and talismans, attacking the flying boat. Yuanhua, you take control of the flying boat and hurry back to Qingzhou Mountain with everyone. Leave this to me. The second elder quickly instructed the Lu family manager. He then took out another flying artifact, stepped off the flying boat, and crushed a talisman, turning it into a golden light barrier around his body, wielding the bamboo staff to intercept the 4 assailants. All right. Lu Yuanhua promptly took over control of the flying boat without further words. He could tell at a glance that the 4 robber cultivators had come prepared, all possessing the strength of the energy refinement late stage. And among their group, aside from the second elder, only he was at the 7th level of energy refinement. The rest only possessed middle stage energy refinement strength. In such a situation, their side was clearly at a disadvantage. Second elder, take care. After Lu Yuanhua took control of the flying boat, he immediately steered it, carrying everyone, and flew swiftly towards Qingzhou Mountain. I'll hold them off. You 3 take the flying boat and quickly kill those Lu family youngsters, especially that Lu family talisman master. One of the 4 masked figures, the apparent leader with a raspy voice, instructed. He then charged at the second elder. Lu Yunhan, I'm eager to see how you're going to stop us. You know me, but who sent you here? The second elder's face was grim as he cast a green rainbow light from his jade bamboo staff, attempting to hold back the 4. But the speaking masked figure also slapped a giant palm, summoning a red pearl, with fiery light swirling around it. A fierce wind then arose, with flames engulfing the second elder. Seeing this, the other 3 masked figures immediately brought out a flying boat. They then boarded the flying boat and chased after Lu Chongsheng and the others. Damn it! The second elder, recognizing the dire situation that they were fully prepared for the ambush, knew their target was the younger generation. But at that moment, he had no way to protect everyone and could only watch unwillingly as the pursuers chased after his family's flying boat. Could these 4 be the same 4 robber cultivators who previously ambushed Sister Miaoga? Lu Chongxing thought about what Lu Miaoga had said, that her severe injuries were caused by an ambush by 4 robber cultivators. Now, there were also 4 assailants who clearly came prepared for the Lu family, which made him suspect a connection. However, whether they were the same 4 or not, at the very least, the situation now looked unfavorable from Lu Changsheng's perspective. On the flying boat were 7 people, apart from Lu Yuanhua, who was at the 7th level of energy refinement. The other Lu family disciples were just at middle stage of energy refinement. With 1,000 li yet to Qingzhou Mountain, it seemed difficult for them to reach safety under the pursuit of 3 late-stage energy refinement cultivators. Boom, boom, boom. Chapter 220. Lu Chongxing, do you know what happened to my sister? 3 masked figures in a flying boat pursued relentlessly. 2 of them commanded magic artifacts, unleashing spells, and bombarded the barrier of the flying boat steered by Lu Yuanhua, causing the boat's defensive light shield to dim gradually. This kind of flying boat was just an ordinary one used for traveling, and it did not have strong defenses. No, if this continues, the flying boat simply won't hold up. Miaofing, Miaoqing, you guys take turns controlling the boat. I'll draw one of them away. Seeing the situation, Lu Yuanhua's expression changed and he said through gritted teeth, Uncle Yuanhua, let me do it. I've got talismans from the 4th elder, and I might be able to use them to escape later. Lu Chongxing also spoke up. With so many people around right now, he couldn't conveniently reveal his true power. But once he got to a secluded place, he would have no such concerns. Just as long as he could draw one person away, with Lu Yuanhua present, the crisis for the Lu family members would be resolved. No, Chongsheng, you're our Lu family's talisman master. You absolutely must not take risks. Hearing this, Lu Yuanhua didn't even think before he immediately rejected the idea. They obviously came prepared, targeting our Lu family. If you, Uncle Yuanhua, were to leave, returning to Qingzhou Mountain in the flying boat would be difficult. Moreover, even if you draw one away, facing 2 at the energy refinement late stage, we still might not be able to safely return to Qingzhou Mountain. Lu Chongxing said quickly. In his opinion, it would be simpler to draw the enemy away now than revealing his strength later when they were cornered. Uncle Yuanhua, Chongxing makes sense, but Chongsheng, you can't take the risk either. Let me do it. At this moment, Lu Miaoqing bit his lip and stood up. Lu Chongxing was speechless. He offered to go out because he was confident in his own strength. You going out would be outright suicide. Probably couldn't even manage to draw them away. However, Lu Miaoqing stepping forward at this time made him see him in a new light. Brother Chang, if you go, you're just marching to your death. I've already broken through to the 6th level energy refinement a few days ago, and I have a flying artifact that allows for a brief flight. Don't argue with me about this. Lu Chongqing didn't want to waste any more time. He slapped his storage bag and a stack of talismans appeared in his hand, at least 50 or 60 of them. He handed half of them to Lu Miaohuan, who was beside him, and said, Miss Miaohuan, keep these talismans for self-defense. After speaking, he activated a golden light barrier talisman and a wind-commanding charm on himself, threw out the flying artifact, and jumped off the flying boat. Chongqing! Lu Chongqing! Chongqing, come back! Lu Yuanhua, Lu Miaohuan, and the others watched the scene with shock and alarm, calling out loudly, not expecting Lu Chongqing to be so decisive. Go! Don't waste time! Lu Chongqing stood atop the circular flying artifact, his green robe billowing, enveloped by a layer of golden light, and without looking back, he shouted loudly. Then he activated a dozen or so talismans, which transformed into wind blades, cold winds, fire clouds, and vine tendrils that rolled menacingly toward the pursuing flying boat. Since he needed to draw one away, he had to stir up some enmity. Otherwise, if the enemy didn't send anyone to chase him, it would be quite embarrassing. Hearing Lu Changsheng's words and seeing his actions, Lu Yuanhua, Lu Miaoqing, Lu Miaohuan, and the others were moved beyond words. They felt as if the figure of Lu Chongsheng in front of them was growing taller and larger. Especially Lu Miaohuan, who looked at Lu Changsheng's tall and lean silhouette and at the talismans in her hands, felt a lump in her throat. She had never expected the usually amiable, and even somewhat timid and cowardly Lu Chongqing to be so brave at such a moment, making a sacrifice of himself. And before doing so, he had given them half of the life-saving talismans. Go! Seeing Lu Changsheng's actions, Lu Yuanhua knew that now was not the time to hesitate or delay. Their only course of action was to hurry back and call for help. He steered the flying boat with all his might, escaping towards Qingzhou Mountain. In his heart, he could only hope that Lu Chongqing would survive with the help of the talismans. Lu Chongqing, you've chosen to leap into hell when you could have taken the road to heaven. Little do you know that our main target this time is none other than you. The 3 men chasing in the flying boat were pleasantly surprised to see Lu Chongqing voluntarily jump from the flying boat. Their mission was mainly to assassinate Lu Chongqing, the Lu family's talisman master. Only after him would come the other Lu family disciples. Now seeing Lu Chongqing jumping from the boat, actively provoking them, they immediately felt elated. Let's kill him! After the masked figures defended against the talisman attacks, they immediately steered the flying boat, chasing after Lu Chongqing. This is bad. They're directly going after Lu Chongqing. Lu Miaohuan, seeing this scene, exclaimed with a sudden change in expression. If one person chased after Lu Chongqing, he might stand a chance with the talismans, but now all 3 were abandoning the pursuit of the others to go for Lu Chongqing, which put him in an almost certain death situation. Their main target is Chongqing, the talisman master. It must be the Chun family. Only the Chun family would target our Lu family like this. Lu Yuanhua looked in the direction where Lu Chongqing was escaping, his face very grim, and he said through clenched teeth. But in this situation, they were completely helpless to assist. Even if he went now, it would just mean his death. Lu Chongqing, with all his spiritual power, propelled the flying artifact to its limits, streaking through the sky like a shooting star, zipping through the mountains below. After all, being in the air made him an easy target and was all too conspicuous. In this desolate mountain range, it was perfect for killing and hiding a body. Huh? They've all come after me? So their main target is me? Or am I just a higher priority than the others? Lu Chongqing looked back at the flying boat behind him and was slightly surprised. He hadn't expected all 3 robber cultivators to give up chasing the others and come after him instead. Chapter 221. Lu Chongqing, Do you know what happened to my sister? However, this is also good. It makes dealing with him easy, Lu Chongqing thought calmly to himself. How is this brat flying so quickly? He's using a talisman, and he's fully activating his magic artifact with his spiritual power. It won't be long before he completely exhausts his spirit power. He must have life-saving talismans on him. We can't let him get away. Having seen the situation, the three masked individuals put away their flying boat. They each controlled their flying artifacts, formed spiritual arts with their hands, and chased after Lu Chongqing with all their might. After a short while, Lu Chongqing entered the mountain range and slowed down. Kid, keep running. Why have you stopped? You've got guts. Luring us away alone for the sake of others. I heard you're just the Lu family's son-in-law. I didn't expect you to be so loyal to the Lu family, sacrificing yourself for others. The three, seeing Lu Chongqing slowing down, quickly surrounded him and mocked. In their eyes, Lu Chongqing was now trapped with no escape. They were not in a hurry to kill Lu Chongqing. Sigh, I didn't expect you to hold me in such high regard, coming after me in full force, Lu Chongqing said with a bitter smile to the three individuals. Then he inquired, Gentlemen, as I am facing death, may I ask you a question? Was it also you who attempted to assassinate Lu Miaoge before? Lu Miaoge, you're talking about the young girl from the Lu family. Yes, that was us, one of the masked men said directly. It's just that girl was hit by our leader's black fiend slash. Her life force was nearly extinguished, yet she didn't die. I heard you saved her. How did you manage that? That's right, considering your talent as a talisman master, if you're willing to surrender peacefully, we might give you a chance to live, the other two said. How did I do it? It's simple because Lu Chongqing started with a bitter smile. Mid-sentence, his eyes suddenly sharpened, and he pointed his finger. A seven-colored light burst from his fingertip. With a whoosh, a fierce sword light shot out, heading straight for the forehead of the man in front. Not good. The three were startled in that moment. The man targeted by the sword light, seeing the fierce sword beam before him, had his mental spirit tremble violently. Before he could react, a bloody hole appeared in his forehead, and his consciousness disappeared. Then, with a thud, he fell from his flying artifact. Do you understand the reason now? Lu Chongqing asked the other two, who were in shock and fear. However, just as the words left his mouth, two even larger sword beams from the seven luminaries' sword erupted and slashed out, chilling to the spine. After all, he had narrowly escaped from the hands of three individuals at the energy refinement late stage, and such a neat appearance did not seem consistent with his ordeal. I should return in 3 or 4 days. Otherwise, if I go back now, it would be a bit hard to explain. Lu Chongqing considered. He planned to add some marks of battle damage to his robe before going back. Then Lu Chongqing started to meditate to recover his spiritual power. His full use of the flying artifact and the release of 3 seven-luminary sword beams had been a significant expenditure. He had used up half of his spiritual power. If not for the support of the profound origin bead, he would never have used his spiritual power so recklessly. Chapter 222. Sister, Lu Chongqing is dead. _1 Qingzhou Mountain. Inside a grand hall. What, you say you were ambushed on your way back? The second elder was intercepted, and Chongqing, in order to lure the enemies away, was chased by 3 robber cultivators, and now his whereabouts are unknown. Lu Yuanding's expression darkened instantly upon hearing his daughter Lu Miaohuan's words. Yes, father, at that time we were being chased by 3 energy refinement late-stage robber cultivators. Uncle Yuanhua tried to lead them away, but Chongqing, to ensure our safe escape, voluntarily left the flying boat, attempting to draw one away by himself. But in the end, all 3 robber cultivators went after Lu Chongqing. Lu Miaohuan said, her eyes red and her voice choked with emotion. All this time, the image of Lu Changsheng stepping off the flying boat and standing on the magic artifact to lead the robber cultivators away kept reappearing in her mind. Regret and self-blame gnawed at her. Why hadn't she held on to Lu Changsheng then? After all, being chased by 3 robber cultivators was certainly a death sentence. Family head, this is all my fault. I failed to protect Changsheng. I am willing to accept punishment, said Lu Yuanhua, his face filled with self-reproach. The importance of Lu Changsheng to the Lu family was now self-evident. As long as he continued to grow, he would be one of the core pillars of the Lu family in the future. But now, such a pillar of the future had been sacrificed because of them. This filled him with immense guilt and self-blame. Sigh. Lu Yuanding let out a heavy sigh, his heart weighed down with sorrow. He never expected such an unexpected event to occur. If Lu Changsheng really had an accident, it would not only be a great loss to the Lu family. He also wouldn't know how to face the 4th elder. The ancestor once said, Lu Changsheng is a man of great destiny. I hope he can turn calamity into blessing this time. Lu Yuanding could only hope so in his heart. But the thought of Lu Changsheng being pursued by 3 robber cultivators made his mood even heavier. The prospect of Lu Changsheng turning calamity into blessing, of escaping death, seemed incredibly slim. The matter of punishment can be set aside for now. The urgent task at hand is to retrieve and rescue the 2nd elder and search for Lu Changsheng. Looking at his daughter with reddened eyes, her face full of sadness and grief, Lu Yuanding sighed softly and then turned to Lu Yuanhua and said this. He then told his daughter and the other Lu family disciples to rest and not to spread the news. He and Lu Yuanhua quickly left the grand hall. Lu Miaohuan, her eyes red, returned to the backyard of her family home with a grief-stricken and despondent face and sat down by the stone table, staring blankly into space. She couldn't help but recall Lu Changsheng's appearance and silhouette in her mind. Their playful bickering, the joy, every little moment shared. Though the time the two had spent together wasn't long, when she reminisced, those moments kept revolving in her head. The sadness, self-reproach, and other emotions in her heart began to ferment, making Lu Changsheng's image in her heart become ever more vivid. Lu Changsheng, she whispered his name softly. She felt an emptiness inside. She realized what it meant to only cherish something when it's lost. Huan, you're back. What's wrong? At this moment, Lu Miaoga returned from visiting the 4th elder. Seeing her sister's sorrowful and distraught state in the yard, she immediately approached her with concern. Sister, Lu Changsheng is dead. Woo. As Lu Miaohuan, mired in her memories, saw her sister appear, all the emotions churning in her heart exploded in that moment. She hugged her sister tightly, her voice filled with grievance as she spoke. Tears streamed down her face as she cried. What? Lu Miaoga, hearing her sister's words, felt as if struck by lightning, her delicate body shaking violently, frozen in shock. Her beautiful face turned pale. She looked at her sister in disbelief and said, Huan, what are you saying? You're saying Changsheng is dead? Woo. He sacrificed himself to protect us. Lu Miaohuan cried out loudly. She had already convinced herself that Lu Changsheng's death was certain. Hearing this, Lu Miaoga looked at her sister's sorrowful state, her heart also filled with grief, as if cut by knives. Huan, don't cry. Tell me what happened? Changsheng, how could Changsheng die? Lu Miaoga soothed her sister, her lips quivering as she asked shakily. She couldn't believe this was true, that Lu Changsheng could just die like that. Memories of him also started resurfacing in her mind, meeting Lu Changsheng through the testing of talisman-making skills, then constantly hearing about his progress in the talisman path and remembering him. Later, studying talisman-making with him at the 4th elder's place, working together at the 9 Dragons marketplace. She had witnessed Lu Changsheng's progress and growth all along. And not long ago, their relationship had taken another step further, with the reality of a marital connection. But now, her sister was telling her that Lu Changsheng was dead. Lu Miaoga simply couldn't believe it, couldn't accept this terrible news. On our way back, Lu Miaohuan began, her voice choked with sobs. narrating the events that had happened during their return. For masked robber cultivators attacked us. Chongqing lured the robber cultivators away and ended up being chased by 3 of them. When Lu Miaoge heard that Lu Chongqing wasn't confirmed dead, the anxiety that had caught in her throat eased somewhat, but her heart still sunk to the depths. She knew these 4 robber cultivators, bold enough to ambush the second elder's flying boat, were no ordinary foes. They might even be the same 4 who had ambushed her before. Under such circumstances, for Lu Chongqing to escape unscathed from 3 robber cultivators was nearly impossible. Huan, don't cry. Chongqing has a destiny protected by heaven, and he won't come to harm. Lu Miaoge bit her lip, consoling her sister. Chapter 223. Sister. Lu Chongqing is dead. At the same time, she was also comforting herself, because she knew Lu Chongqing had some secrets. He was not as simple as he seemed on the surface, especially since the time Lu Chongqing rescued her and they practiced dual cultivation together. She knew that Lu Chongqing's strength was not just breaking through to the 6th level energy refinement as Lu Miaohuan had said. He had most likely broken through to the 7th level energy refinement. Yet even at the 7th level energy refinement, facing 3 robber cultivators was more likely to be perilous than not. When she encountered those 4 robber cultivators, if she hadn't relied on her protective magic artifact and talismans, as well as being close to 9 Dragons Market, she would not have been able to escape at all. Moreover, if it hadn't been for Lu Chongqing's rescue at the time, she would have been on a path to certain death. Thinking of these things, waves of sadness and discomfort surged in her heart again. Even if Lu Chongqing had just broken through to the 6th level energy refinement, he never fought with anyone before and even gave half of his talismans to us for self-defense. Sob. Lu Miaohuan thought of the moment Lu Chongqing went down the flying boat and gave her half of the talismans, and her heart ached even more. She looked at them, and although most of those talismans were middle grade, there were also several superior grade talismans among them. She knew these talismans must have been Lu Chongqing's own life-saving talismans for self-defense. Yet, in such a dangerous moment, he not only lured the enemies away but also divided half of his life-saving talismans between them. If it weren't for my return to Qingzhou Mountain, making Chongqing stay at the Spirit Talisman shop, Chongqing wouldn't have encountered danger. Hearing her younger sister's tearful words, Lu Miaoge too was touched. A sense of self-reproach grew in her heart. She felt that if it weren't for her, Lu Chongqing would have returned to Qingzhou Mountain last time. Then he would not have met with this ambush, and this incident wouldn't have happened. Chongqing, you must come back alive. Lu Miaoge silently prayed in her heart, unwilling to believe the news of Lu Chongqing's death. Seeing her younger sister's grief-stricken and heartbroken look, Lu Miaoge sighed deeply in her heart. She had always known that her younger sister had a certain fondness for Lu Chongqing, but she had not expected that her sister's affection for Lu Chongqing had reached such an extent. If before, Wan Huan's feelings for Chongqing were just liking and fondness, but many times, memories can beautify a person. Now, having gone through such an event, the affection, fondness, and sorrow in Wan Huan's heart keep fermenting. I'm afraid she'll never be able to forget Chongqing now. And now facing a crisis with the Lu family, and having firmly stated his intent to share fate with the Lu family, he had come to accept Lu Chongqing completely, as one of their own. But now, Lu Yuanhua was saying Lu Chongqing lured away the robber cultivators and was missing, which outraged him. Second Elder. Lu Yuanhua bowed guiltily with clasped hands. Have you found any clues to Chongqing? The second elder asked in a grave voice. No, we have already searched the area where Chongqing lured away the robber cultivators, and there are no signs of battle. So there are only 2 possibilities. Lu Yuanhua spoke out. No signs of battle meant there was no intense confrontation, and the battle ended very quickly. So there were only 2 possibilities. Either Lu Chongqing escaped directly, Chapter 224. Sister. Lu Changsheng is dead. Either Lu Changsheng was easily slain and captured by the three people, or facing three cultivators at the energy refinement late stage, they all inevitably considered the latter possibility more likely. Has the patriarch been informed of this matter? Thinking of the patriarch's once favorable opinion of Lu Changsheng, the second elder inquired. The fourth elder went to see the patriarch, but Changsheng had no token on him and had been subjected to soul-tracking methods, so the patriarch could not sense Changsheng's situation, Lu Yuanhua said with bitterness. For a cultivation family like the Lu family, there were no such things as soul lamps or identity jades to determine life and death. Only a few core disciples would have soul-tracking charms and tokens left by the family elder to prevent any accidents. Search. Continue the search. Expand the search area. Send a message as soon as there is news. After a moment of silence, the second elder spoke directly. At the same time, inside a cave, about time to head back, otherwise Miaoyun and the others, seeing the second elder and the rest returning but not me, would probably start to worry. Lu Changsheng, after laying low for 2 days, looked at the sky outside and felt it was almost time. He then added some signs of battle damage to himself. Afterward, he walked out of the cave, released his iron feather eagle from the storage bag, and flew towards Qingzhou Mountain. A day later, Lu Changsheng, riding on the iron feather eagle, landed outside Qingzhou Mountain. Lu Changsheng, you're back, are you all right? At the gate, an elder of the Lu family saw Lu Changsheng and immediately exclaimed with joy. Sizing up Lu Changsheng and seeing no serious injuries, the elder also let out a sigh of relief. Yes, I'm fine. I hid for 2 days after escaping the pursuit, which is why I'm only returning now, Lu Changsheng responded. Good. It's good that you're back. Good that you're back. The family has sent people out to look for you. I will send a message now to call them back, the family elder stated, nodding. Lu Yuanding had instructed before to send a message as soon as Lu Changsheng returned. I've made the family worry. I will go home and report that I'm safe. Upon hearing this, Lu Changsheng immediately said. He knew his actions would surely cause concern to the Lu family. Moreover, his wives and concubines, knowing that others from the Nine Dragons market had returned and he had not, would surely worry as well. Thinking of his year-long absence from home, he longed deeply for his wives, concubines, and children. Good, go on. Seeing Lu Changsheng only suffered minor wounds and no serious harm, the family elder didn't say much more. Lu Changsheng nodded, and upon entering Qingzhou Mountain, he promptly headed straight for his home. Along the way, he vaguely observed that the Lu family was on high alert, with notably more family disciples patrolling. Greeting several Lu family disciples on the road informed Lu Changsheng that only a small number of people knew about the danger he had encountered. Before long, Lu Changsheng entered Qingzhou Valley and arrived at his estate. Husband is back. Daddy, look, Daddy is back. Just as Lu Changsheng entered, his wives and concubines who were with the children in the yard rushed over to greet him with surprised joy. Husband, what happened to you? Why is your magical robe damaged? One of his wives immediately noticed the damage on Lu Changsheng's magical robe and expressed concern. Seeing the expressions of his wives and concubines, Lu Changsheng instantly knew. Lu family did not mention to their wives about what happened on the way home. Therefore, their wives were unaware of the chase and attempted murder by the robber cultivator. I encountered a slight mishap on the road. Nothing serious, said Lu Changsheng immediately, waving his hand dismissively. He did not want to cause his wives to worry. He quickly went to the side hall, changed his clothes, and accompanied his wives and children to the backyard to visit the other wives and children. My lord, you're back. Lu Miaoyun, Chu Zhenjin, and the other ladies in the backyard were overjoyed upon seeing Lu Changsheng. They put down the children and rushed towards Lu Changsheng with delighted faces, embracing him. Hee. Have you missed your husband? Lu Changsheng gathered the two petite wives into his arms. Yes. Lu Miaoyun's eyes were full of tender affection as she spoke. Chu Zhenjin, who had become less shy than before, clung tightly to Lu Changsheng and said in a soft, sweet voice, "Your husband has missed you too," said Lu Changsheng gently. After hugging the two women warmly for a while, he did not neglect any of his wives or concubines. He showed care to every single one of them, then turned his attention to the children. But now, with so many children, he was honestly confused. He could not immediately recognize who was who, especially since he had been away for a year. All the children that were in their mothers' bellies had been born. There were 11 children whom he had not yet seen or held. Next, Lu Changxing looked at these children and named the 11 new ones. He then started chatting with his wives about old times, mentioning his experiences in Nine Dragons Market, and listening to his wives share the little things about family and life. And just at that moment, a startled and delightful voice reached them. Lu Changxing. They saw a young woman who looked to be around 18 or 19 years old, with delicate features, a stunning face, an elegant figure, dressed in a black and gold figure-hugging dress, staring at Lu Changxing. She then rushed towards Lu Changxing with a surprised and delighted face. Lu Changxing gazed at the excited young lady rushing toward him and was slightly taken aback. He wasn't sure why this young lady was so excited today. Still, he instinctively opened his arms. Suddenly, he was enveloped in a fragrant breeze and a tender embrace. "What's going on here?" Lu Miaoyun, Chu Zhenjin, and other ladies chatting with Lu Changxing were taken aback by the scene, left in a daze. Confused, they didn't understand how Lu Miaohuan suddenly arrived in their home, bursting so excitedly and eagerly into the arms of their husband. Watching Lu Miaohuan, who was joyfully clinging to their husband, Lu Miaoyun, Chu Zhenjin, and the others exchanged perplexed glances, not knowing what to say. Not far off, Lu Miaoga, who had arrived with Lu Miaohuan, showed a helpless expression on her face. She had not expected her sister to act in such a manner in public, and in front of Lu Changsheng's other wives no less. But she could understand her sister's feelings. Hers had been a few days filled with restlessness, unable to eat or drink properly. Just hearing about Lu Changsheng's return had made her thrilled, insisting on coming over. Lu Miaoga, watching Lu Miaohuan embracing Lu Changxing, gently pursed her lips, her eyes filled with soft joy, but her emotions were somewhat mixed. P.S. There will be a second chapter, but it will be very late, so everyone doesn't need to wait. Chapter 225. Don't let the riches flow into others' fields. _1 Lu Miaohuan embraced Lu Changxing for a moment before immediately snapping back to reality. Only then did she remember she was in Lu Changxing's home, and there were so many people watching. Moreover, these people were all Lu Changxing's wives and concubines. She had actually thrown herself into Lu Changxing's arms in front of his wives and concubines. Even though Lu Miaohuan was usually bold and carefree, indifferent to others' gazes, at that moment she couldn't help but blush profusely, covering her face as she ran off. Lu Changxing watched Lu Miaohuan hurry away, caught off guard. Soon after, he shook his head and smiled wryly. He also roughly understood what was going on. She must have thought he was in grave danger when he went to lure away the robber cultivator. Hearing of his safe return, she must have been so agitated to see him alive. "Sister Miaoga, I've made you worry." At that moment, Lu Changxing turned to look at not far away, at the eldest lady draped in white, surpassing the purity of snow, her figure slender and graceful, smiling as he spoke. Since Lu Miaoga had come along with Lu Miaohuan, she must be aware of the robber cultivator incident and was worried about him as well. "It's good that you're all right." Seeing Lu Changxing unharmed, Lu Miaoga's heart was filled with immense joy. Yet, even with such happiness in such a situation, she wouldn't act like her sister Lu Miaohuan and throw herself at Lu Changxing. She just smiled softly and spoke in a gentle voice. Her beautiful, unadorned face, as splendid as morning glow on snow, was exceptionally stunning. Lu Miaoyun, Chu Zhenjin, and the other women saw Lu Miaohuan embrace their husband and cover her face as she ran off. Then, they saw their husband and the eldest lady smiling and talking to each other. one gentle and genial, as if bathed in the spring breeze. The other pure and ethereal, as elegant as an immortal. Watching them, they felt an indescribable sense of perfect harmony. Since you're all right, I'm relieved. They'll go check on Huan Huan. Lu Miaoge didn't stay for long. With this situation, and Lu Changsheng's many wives and concubines here, she felt quite uncomfortable and a bit out of place. Especially in the presence of Lu Miaoyun, she felt a sense of guilt and inadequacy. Typically, she hardly dared to meet Lu Miaoyun, and it was only because she was worried about Lu Chongqing that she had taken the initiative to come over. Sister Miaoge, let me walk you out. Lu Chongqing, seeing her reaction, quickly stepped forward and said. Lu Miaoge intended to say it wasn't necessary, but seeing Lu Chongqing already walking over to her, she pursed her lips lightly and said nothing. Sister Miaoge, have you recovered? Lu Chongqing asked casually. Initially, under his treatment, Lu Miaoge's life had been stabilized, but her injuries were severe and she needed recuperation. She returned to recover. It's almost completely healed, Lu Miaoge said softly. That's good then. Lu Chongqing nodded. There was a silence between them. As they left the back courtyard and reached the front courtyard, Lu Chongqing grasped Lu Miaoge's hand and said, Sister Miaoge, I've missed you. Lu Miaoge's hand was clasped by Lu Chongqing. Hearing these words, she suddenly stiffened, her heart fluttering. She also felt shy, fearing that this scene was seen by others. Sister Miaoge, did you miss me? Lu Chongqing looked at Lu Miaoge's ears, which were slightly tinged with red, and leaned in to ask. Lu Miaoge's cheeks flushed red, and after a moment, she whispered, I missed you too. I'm going to check on Huan Huan. She then wriggled out of Lu Changsheng's grasp and quickly left, looking somewhat flustered. Watching Lu Miaoge's retreating figure, Lu Chongqing shook his head slightly and chuckled, returning to the back courtyard. Just as he returned to the back courtyard, he saw Lu Miaoyun, Chu Zhenjin, and the rest of his wives and concubines looking at him with faces full of curiosity and gossip. I ran into a little accident on the way back from Nine Dragons Market, making the second young lady believe I was in trouble, which is why she was so excited upon knowing I returned. Lu Chongqing cleared his throat and explained to his wives. Oh, so that's what happened. Chu Zhenjin showed a suddenly enlightened expression, yet her teasing smile clearly showed disbelief. It's fine, husband. Since there are already so many sisters at home, why not marry Sister Miaoge and Sister Miaohuan too? Lu Miaoyun spoke up, her lips curling into a light smile. As the official wife, she had come to terms with Lu Changsheng's practice of taking more wives and concubines. Thinking of how Lu Chongqing always brings women home, it might be better to marry both Lu Miaoge and Lu Miaohuan. After all, it meant keeping the wealth within the family. Moreover, she knew that her husband wanted to have children with good spiritual roots, and both Lu Miaoge and Lu Miaohuan had middle-grade spiritual roots. If they bore children, the chances of having offspring with middle-grade spiritual roots in the future were quite high. What are you talking about? Although Lu Chongqing did harbor such thoughts, he obviously couldn't agree outright at that moment. Husband, am serious? Lu Miaoyun said with a tinge of coyness. Yes, Sister Yun is right. Every time I see husband and Sister Miaoge together, I feel they are an excellent match, Chu Zhenjin chimed in. Well now, to think that you're making fun of me. It seems you all haven't had a proper family rule to follow for quite some time, Lu Chongqing said, feeling a warm flush inside, thinking of how thoughtful and considerate his young wife was. Chapter 226. Don't let the riches flow into others' fields. A man in black with a mask, his breath somewhat disordered, murmured to himself. He thought of how his three companions had only been pursuing a few juniors from the Lu family, and if it hadn't been for an accident, it would have been impossible for them not to arrive at the designated meeting place after 2 days. Having waited until nightfall without seeing a trace of his companions, the masked man decided not to wait any longer. He took out a set of clothes from his storage bag to change his appearance. Transforming into a burly man with a square face wearing a purple robe, he piloted a flying artifact towards the Nine Dragons marketplace. The next day, family head Lu Yuanding and others called Lu Chongxing over and inquired about the situation. Lu Chongxing had long thought of an explanation for his narrow escape. He claimed that he had come across a body-protecting talisman at the marketplace for loose cultivators. It was with this talisman that he had managed to escape death by using an escape talisman. After listening to his story, Lu Yuanding and the others were somewhat surprised but did not ask too many questions. After all, there was no need to investigate such matters too deeply. Regardless of the truth, what Lu Chongxing had done was for the Lu family, and he deserved praise. Chongxing, your actions are indeed commendable. The family will remember this and reward you with 1,000 family contribution points. However, you must not take such risks in the future, Lu Yuanding said. His gaze towards Lu Chongxing carried a hint of admiration. In his impression, Lu Chongxing had always been a cautious and steady man. But this time, he had shown a daring spirit and the poise of a great general. This altered his impression of Lu Chongxing. He couldn't help but feel that during his initial visit to the Qingyun sect to seek a son-in-law, he had managed to bring back such an outstanding individual. Thank you, family head, Lu Chongxing said with a slight bow. 1,000 contribution points were equivalent to 1,000 spirit stones. Moreover, using contribution points to purchase items within the Lu family was like getting a discount of 20 to 30% off the external market price. Thus, this reward was quite significant. Chongxing, as you know the family's current situation, will need you to draw more talismans in the coming time. Rest assured, you'll earn 10% more contribution points for the talismans you draw during this period, continued Lu Yuanding. Understood, family head. Lu Chongxing replied with a bow. For him, with a second-rank talisman-making skill and a 100% success rate in talisman crafting, drawing a few extra was no problem. That's all, then. Is there anything you want to ask? Lu Yuanding spoke. He felt as a father he was truly anxious. Lu Chongxing. Just as Lu Chongxing had not walked too far from the estate, he heard a pleasing and engaging voice. Turning his head, he saw the second young Miss, Lu Miaohuan, waving and quickly approaching him. Today, she was wearing a dark black dress embroidered with gold thread. Her curvaceous figure was perfectly outlined by the fitted dress, graceful and undulating. She turned her head too, and immediately saw her father. Instantly, she felt a wave of embarrassment. She hadn't expected her father to witness her hugging Lu Chongxing, and she immediately let go of him, hanging her head. It seems my earlier concerns were unnecessary. Lu Yuanding, seeing the scene, shook his head slightly and pretended not to have seen it, turning back around. He had not expected his daughter's relationship with Lu Chongxing to have progressed to this extent. At the same time, he felt that Lu Chongxing was not as simple as he appeared. It's all your fault. Lu Miaohuan, seeing her father pretending not to have seen and turning back, told Lu Chongxing a bit irritably. She didn't dare say much more to Lu Chongxing and hurried home. P.S. I'm very sleepy, will make up the word count during the day. Alas, I don't really like writing this kind of plot either. You probably find it stiff and am struggling over every word. But it feels like, even as an emotionless sewing machine, the story has come to this point, and it's inevitable for the two sisters to wrap things up, so I have to write a bit. Chapter 228. The New Foundation Establishment Great Cultivator, to battle. _1, to be caught by the family head. That's really? As Lu Chongxing walked back, he thought about how he had just been held by Lu Miaohuan when Lu Yuanding appeared, and he couldn't help but shake his head and sigh. However, he didn't feel embarrassed at all. Nowadays, the second Miss temperament has also improved somewhat. Lu Chongxing was also somewhat confident that he could handle the second Mississippi. In such a situation, he could also consider taking the second miss back to his family. So, being seen was just being seen. He would just treat it as giving his future father-in-law some mental preparation in advance. Speaking of which, should I let the family head unintentionally see me with the eldest miss someday, to give him a bit of mental preparation? Lu Chongqing couldn't help but think to himself. But as soon as the thought arose, he felt it was better to put it on hold for now. Otherwise, he was really afraid that Lu Yuanding would chop him up with a sword. After all, no father could stand it if one man snatched away both daughters he had raised. But there's still a long way to go. Thinking of the eldest Miss' current situation, Lu Chongqing shook his head. It seemed that taking both sisters back to his family wouldn't be so simple. There's a saying, let things flow naturally when the boat reaches the pier, so Lu Chongqing didn't think much about it and went home. In the following days, Lu Chongqing still spent his days cultivating, making talismans and spending time with his wives and concubines. In his spare time, he also used his skills in puppetry to create simple wooden oxen and horses, mechanical men, and mechanical beasts as toys for the children. This was also a way to let people know that he had dabbled into some puppetry skills. Seeing the children's love for the toys made with puppetry, Lu Chongqing suddenly thought of a saying. Interest is the best teacher for a child. He then thought he could perhaps stimulate the children's interest in puppetry through this approach. If the children had some talent in puppetry, they could then be trained towards becoming puppet masters. Although puppetry wasn't as esteemed as other skills like alchemy, formation, equipment, and talisman making, it was nevertheless considered a decent skill. And for children without a spiritual root, having some knowledge in puppetry, when venturing into the mortal world, would certainly be a useful skill. They could create things like wooden oxen and horses, wooden birds, mechanical beasts, armillary spheres, earthquake instruments, among other mechanisms. Straight away, whenever Lu Chongqing had free time, he would work with the children to create some simple mechanical toys. And he would explain some knowledge related to puppetry. In the blink of an eye, more than half a month passed. During this period, the family has also been covertly acquiring talismans, elixir medicines, puppets, and other treasures. It appears it was all in preparation for this battle. Lu Chongqing, hearing Lu Yuanzhong's words, had a sudden realization. He finally understood why the Lu family had called all their family disciples back. It was all in preparation for this moment. The Chen family wanted to devour and take over the Lu family. But similarly, the Lu family also wanted to take down the Chen family and advance further. With the Lu family ancestors' grand birthday approaching, it seemed that they wanted to use this opportunity to give their last bit of strength to the Lu family. With 2 foundation-building great cultivators, allied with 100 Birds Lake by family, that makes 3 foundation-building great cultivators. True, although the Chen family has only 1 foundation establishment ancestor, Red Leaf Valley is also protected by a formation. If there were only 2 foundation-building great cultivators, it still might not be enough to break through. And even if the Lu family did conquer the Chen family, there would be significant casualties. Relying solely on the Lu family would make it difficult to take over the spirit vein of Red Leaf Valley. Hence why they brought in the 100 Birds Lake by family, who has had good relations with the Lu family for generations. With the addition of the Bai family ancestor, with 3 foundation-building great cultivators, this battle should be nearly certain. Even if the Chen family seeks reinforcements from Wugong Ridge Shang family, the Zheng family would not be able to assist in time. You're tuning in to the Legend of the Vagabond YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.